Okay. Huge milestone coming in. Huge milestone.
93 Runecrafting?
You guys haven't even seen gaming like this. You don't know about video games until you see that right there. Woo, 93 crafting only 5 more million experience. 6 more million experience. Hello, and welcome back to Xpwaste, where we hope you're all enjoying your new capes. Hi, I'm Oxie.
And I'm Michael. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome to the show. We are an old school RuneScape podcast. And that's likely why you clicked and started to listen or started to watch. Welcome. We're XP Waste. We'll talk about the news, talk about things that are happening in the game, what we're excited about the game, what we love about the game. And sometimes we'll talk about RS3. Sometimes. So don't be alarmed if that were to happen. It doesn't happen often, but it does. And, we just want to let you know. If you're not new around here, welcome back. As Oxy said, capes have been divvied up, if you will. We're gonna take a second pass at them just to make sure everything's squeaky clean and that we have all of the administrative details correct with join dates and what cape you should have. But yeah, just a little backstory on that. Like if you don't know what we're talking about with capes, we restructured our clan in game. So they let you pick any icon that they have available from the list to represent the different ranks that you can get through the game. And so before we only had like 4 different ranks that were based on time. So once you hit 4 months in the clan, basically you just stopped getting ranks unless we had, we ranked you up manually. And now this goes all the way up to 3 years, where every milestone that you hit, you'll get a new cape. So if you've been in the clan a while, you may have a new cape. And then we've got some different icons for the new advanced roles that we've talked about last week. Which I think right now we're at like 30 plus applications, which is amazing. The 3 roles that we have are event planner, lead boss tutor, and clan admissions council. And the event planner, I think, is the most popular one besides just like the standard chat mod. If we had bet on it, that's not what I would have chosen, which I think is really funny. So we have some people that want to do some events, which is really fun. But Oxy, how are you, sir? It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too. I looked at it this morning actually, just for laughs. We're up to 43 signups.
Oh, okay.
And chat moderator is only beating event planner by 1.
Oh wow.
And there are some people who have signed up for multiple roles, so we'll have to go in and
we do, soon
figure out. That'll be long before bingo, because I know I talked about it today with the data team. That'll be long before bingo. So we won't have to worry about that, which is nice. Yeah, I've been good. I just got 93 rune crafting. And when I mean just, I mean like I hit 93 rune crafting and then I said, hello, welcome back to XP. It's just now.
It may have been the cold opener. We don't know.
Maybe, dude. And let me tell you, it's just slow. And I say that knowing full well that I've not tried any quick methods. I know people are saying Orania and Solo Lavas and Guardians of the Rift. You're all right. Like, that's the thing. Like, I'm not saying any of you guys are wrong, but I don't think this week I have like legitimately sat down and gamed on my computer all week long. I've been insanely busy this week. It's like not even been funny how stupid busy I've been. Blue's tail just got right in the way of my computer, just because that's who she is as a cat. She likes to lay right in front. She likes to lay between my keyboard and my monitors.
Oh,
This week has been wild. What time did we record? We recorded last Saturday night, correct?
It was last
Yeah,
Saturday
'cause I
night.
was
Yeah,
it was last Saturday night because I was out all day and I was exhausted. I
you were
remember it was
cooked.
just like I went back and I listened to the fun question just because people were talking about it. And I was watching that video, dude. I was like actively falling asleep like
Oh,
during
really?
achievement of the week. Like that shit was I was so tired during the achievement of the week portion of that episode. But yeah, this week has been wild and crazy. This week has been a lot of really good fencing. Fencing is moving along well. I can fence again for my ankle injury. I'm really hoping um I'm really hoping a tournament in a couple of weeks goes really well. So last August, about almost a year ago to this day, um I participated in the largest local tournament of the year in Michigan, and I ruptured my Achilles tendon. Just like clean, snapped that bitch in half. And it was horrible. I don't like to exaggerate pain. It was unquestionably the most painful thing I've ever experienced in my life. Physically painful. And during that same time, I had just finished up a Raids Bank bingo. And this year, I think if I'm looking at the calendar correctly, I am going to be once again finishing up a Raids Bank bingo just before I leave for the duelist. um,
Oh,
so I'm hoping history does not repeat itself. And if it means I have to lose the Raids Bank bingo, I guess I'm okay with that. Even though I don't want to, I want to go for the back-to-back victory in that clan in that bingo. However, I'd rather not rupture my Achilles tendon. So, I want to do well with that. So fencing has been going really well. Um, IRL, my apartment is coming along. I ordered a desk. Chaos Cleric says rupture it, be a man. Already did. Can tell you, didn't help my masculinity at all. Been there, done that. Yeah, good times. Actually, it wasn't a good time at all. But my apartment is coming together. I ordered a new desk that is not here yet, so eventually you'll see the setup moved from here out into my living room, and it will look a little bit more thematic. It'll look like an actual podcast background and not like a closet and boxes and shit. Like it'll actually look like it's supposed to. Um, That's been really good. What else have I done this week? I genuinely, like Friday, for example, I had to stay home and watch the house. My sister and my mom went to Kentucky. And on Friday, after like the day after they left, for some reason it all worked out. My sister's having a bunch of work done on the house. The the internet people, the exterminator people, and the chimney people were all there on Friday. And they all had to go. So I went there Thursday night after practice, woke up to people banging around on my roof, and then spent the day like just doing like house chores while these
nice.
people worked on stuff in the house. And again, it's just like I've been busy. Like I didn't play at all that day on Friday, I don't think. I played a little look at Blue, she's so stupid. Why are you like that? Why are you sitting
So
like that?
cute.
Why are you sitting like that, weirdo? Yeah, I was busy, and then Friday I was so busy doing things, uh, while also still like technically working remote too.
Mm.
That I woke up on Sunday or on Saturday. This is how messed up I've been. I woke up on Saturday worried that I was late for work, number one.
Oh.
And then number two was like, shit, I gotta text Michael about recording tonight. Like genuinely, it took me like a couple minutes to be like, holy shit, it's actually Saturday today. Like I have time. This is fantastic. So I fell back asleep for another 4 hours.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then I think the only real playing I've done, I have AFK'd rune crafting and obviously got 93 on the main, so I'm now 2245, which like
Ooh.
it feels so far away because I'm only at 93 rune crafting, but I'm 32 levels from max, which like
is
is so
pretty
stupid
close.
close.
Yeah.
Especially again, considering like I have not made progress in construction, herblore, or smithing since the last time we checked in. And those are going to be quick. Even thieving is going to be quick, and I've not really done any thieving either.
You got a lot of quick ones left. Like the 30 levels
I
are
do have
spread
a
out
lot of
pretty nicely.
yeah, like don't get me wrong, 6 levels in runecrafting is going to be kind of stinky, but um that's going to be the worst of it. Like that's
Yeah.
by far the worst of it. And then we're just cruising from there. I still think it would be super cool to max right before bingo. So then, because everyone's like, "Oh, you'll be burned out for bingo." Only people who have said that have never been on my bingo team before. Only the people who have not been on my team know that or think that I'll be burned out. My former teammates, Tiki, the Rich, C4, what are the other names? Oh God, going all the way back to like Abyssal Daddies. What was the team name for I'd have to look at my name. I'm blanking on all the names at this point. I've been on a lot of bingo teams. Oh, how could you forget No Helm, the Oxymorons, the Infernal Procrastinators? You know, all those teams, y'all know damn well I don't go to sleep during bingo. The day after bingo, you will not catch me in this game until 2025. I swear to God. Like, I think it
Just
could
fall
be
over.
possible. I truly could fall over and die. But yeah, I don't know. I think it'd be cool to have like a pre-bingo party where like save up your shit, dude. Save up your caskets, save up your reward pulls and all this other fun stuff. Save up any crates and shit, and we'll just like go around the game pulling crates and getting clog slots and popping clue scrolls, and then finally at the very end, I'll hit 2277. And I actually really like Otis's idea of everyone's like stack a 99.
Ooh,
So when I pop the orange and red fireworks, everyone hits fireworks at the exact same time. We
oh,
have a
that's
big fireworks
cool.
show somewhere.
That'd be cool.
I actually kind of love that idea as like a pre-bingo party. That would be sick. So for the sake of like the community engagement, that could be fun. The problem is that gives me like a little more than 2 months to get these 30 levels, which isn't that bad, but rune crafting is stimky. Rune crafting is stimky. And I think if we can get rune crafting done, we're not going to get it done before the end of the summer like we wanted to, mainly because I just took a million years and did it the slowest way possible. We're chilling. I kind of miss drift net fishing. I almost said I kind of miss redwoods, but I don't have a 99 wood cutting yet. I got the pet, so I feel like I can't do redwoods anymore, and it's bad.
You absolutely can. I mean, you're getting 90K an hour, right? Was it
But
90K?
I just want the beaver recolors. I feel like I should do forestry.
Oh,
I don't know.
yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at. I did some chambers on the Iron Man last night, and then also did 1 or 2 quests, I think. No, I did a quest and a mini quest last night on the Iron Man. And that's it.
Nice.
That's what I've been doing this week. I'm sure I could keep rambling about maxing plans, but in a perfect world, we max right before bingo, and it's pretty sick. But I'm not gonna hold myself to that. Chaos Cleric's already updating the tracker. I can smell him fucking figuring out a way to time my maxing grind. But how have you been, Michael?
I've also been busy, man. I don't know what this is this week. I've I, usually like throughout the week, I will be on my iPad or on my laptop AFKing, but my son has been out of school. He's not of school age yet, but he goes to a daycare that they run like a school where they have the semesters and then they have summer school, and then for some reason this year, I don't know if it's been like that the last 2 years, but they he didn't have school for 2 weeks, so he's been home all day, every day. So normally the times that he would be at school, I would just be able to like, since I'm not working, uh, I would be able to like play more and do the kind of stuff that I want to do. But I can't play on the actual PC unless he's napping. And I had some interviews this week, and we're trying to get ready for family coming in town. So just been a busy kind of chore week for me too, which has been fine. I don't mind. The weather's been nice, so like we're kind of mixing that up with relaxing in the pool and going to the park when it's cooler outside. But in game, uh, most of the stuff that I've been doing that's RuneScape related has been like the clan stuff that we mentioned at the beginning of the week or at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, that is true.
Several
you and
hours.
I spent like all of Wednesday night doing shit like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was several hours was spent this week going and looking at spreadsheets and trying to figure out everybody's join date and if they had left the clan, like when they came back, and it's all pretty much done. It's like 98%. We just have to go through one more time, get a second pass through because I think some of the dates are wrong because it's all manual as far as like getting a join date. There's no way to export that information. I kind of wish there was, but you can get usernames exported, but I don't think that you can get like the rank or the date somebody joined or whatever. I don't think you can get that information exported. So we had to go through line by line, reference it with what's in game, put it in a spreadsheet, and then I spent several hours with ChatGPT, like having it spit out code that I could use for formulas for sheets to very basic things.
Still didn't work.
Well, the stuff that isn't working is the stuff that TMD added that I broke.
Fuck you, ChatGPT.
No, I broke it. It's stuff that TMD did. The stuff that the ChatGPT did, it still works.
Dog, we have a data team.
I know.
We have a
Chaos
team
Cleric,
of folks who help us with this shit.
He has kindly made a spreadsheet that we're probably going to make into a website because big picture is when we have the clan admissions council, I don't want anybody to like have to work in a spreadsheet. And as much as we can stay out of spreadsheets, that's my dream. And so if we can just have everything be managed either by an application or a website or something, or even just in Discord, keep it simple is my motto for clan admission stuff. And so, I'll be working with the data team and Chaos Cleric and really just like anybody who is more knowledgeable in Google Sheets than I am to make this the most easy process possible. But leading up to that, there is a lot of manual work, but a lot of that is done, like I said. So I spent several hours this week doing that. And then I guess like in the evenings, I have been able to play. And I'm up to like 43 KC chambers, I think. My rates tracker, I reset it, but my loot tracker, I don't know when this got reset. It shows 3 torn prayer scrolls. So I guess like at least since I was in the 20s in KC, but it says 16 completed. And then my raids data tracker says 14 since I reset it. And so
why are you resetting the raid data tracker?
So it was like because like leagues, it had league stuff on there, and it wasn't accurate from, and it had like stuff from when I was doing it on my main and on my iron, and I had it for league. So I just reset it to where it's pretty much at the start of when I'm starting to do chambers, because that's been the raid that I've been doing a lot this week, like 2 or 3 per evening that I've been doing it. And yeah, I'm getting really comfortable with the raid. And it's the gear that I have. I feel like it's just good enough to be comfortable doing the certain rotations that we're doing. Like I'm avoiding anything with a V. It's like no Vanguards, no Vespula, no Vasa. I don't want to do shamans because those just suck. So like really it's just the easy rooms, and they're lower point raids. Like I'm getting anywhere between like 10 and maybe 15,000 points personally. So I think as a group, we have like a maybe 15 to 20% chance at a purple, which isn't bad. So eventually we'll see one. I've seen two. And I don't know if it was like what the time frame was, but last week at least I mentioned Goose's claws. He got the dragon claws.
Hmm.
And then I did another one this week where Sam Wilkie got an arcane. So those are the two purples that I've seen since I've reset the data tracker. But, eventually I'm going to have to get a purple in my name. So if I just keep doing it, literally, like I said last week, anything I get, I'll be happy with it. It's gear that I can use on my account for some purpose. Ancestral would kind of be kind of crazy because it's like the highest tier armor that I would have. And it wouldn't really do much in the way of upgrades now because I don't have any super, super good magic DPS. Like I don't have an occult. I don't have a tormented. So it would just be like a 1 or 2% upgrade, which is fine over Arams.
Still pretty good.
Yeah.
Over Arams, it's still pretty good. So,
but I'm really wanting the prayers as like a top priority. And then any sort of like good weapons would be really nice. But yeah, other than chambers, that's really been it. Like I've had the interest to go and do a tombs of a masket, but then I don't know, like I don't have to really think when I'm doing chambers. And when it's like 11 o'clock at night, I don't want to like re-gear and switch my spell book and go and do a tombs when I could just do another chamber. So a Fang would be amazing. Anything from Toa would be amazing. Really, I mean, honestly, it's probably just a Fang is what I want. So maybe I'll start doing like entry mode solos or something and hope for a Fang. Have you seen the price of a Fang lately, by the way? They're like,
yeah, it's FFA.
They're like what,
11 mil. It's
11 mil.
At least that's what they showed last night. The good old Osmumpty's Fang is 11.5 mil. That is an FFA drop in my book. If you get it, you can keep it. I'm not splitting that bitch out.
It's
crazy.
Not
even worth it.
I mean,
keep
in like
getting
a duo
shirt, whenever I join. Every time I
you.
join Gen VC, I'm getting clowned on for the Osmumpton's Fang. Because every time they're like, price, Osmumpton's Fang, price, how much Oxie paid for it? I'm like, you guys suck.
Oh.
Like 220. I paid like 227 mil on like the second day of TOA for a Fang.
But how much has it made you back? Like doing content. You've gotten several.
Not much.
Not several,
TOA,
but you've gotten a couple of shadow splits, right?
I've seen one shadow split in my day. One.
Oh, I thought you've had at least 2 or 3.
No. Only ever seen one.
Mm.
If I had 3 shadow splits, I would not be talking about a shadow rebuild. I've only ever seen one shadow. It was in a trio, so it was good. It was real good money. But I've seen. I want to say I've seen every mega rare item. No, I've seen every mega rare item. Yeah,
that's awesome.
In a split, I've gotten. Jesse and I got a Kodai many moons ago. My first ever purple was an Elder Maul. Russ and I got a duo Tebow and Bingo. Myself, Submediate, and Heartless got a trio Shadow. And then a couple months back, I've seen a couple scythe splits, actually. I've seen a couple of scythes. But, yeah.
But not when they were super expensive, right?
No.
They were probably
they may have been expensive, but like, I think I got like 150 for one and then like 200 for another. So
yeah, it's kind of insane the price fluctuations of the scythe just based on like the rebalancing that they did, and the scale at which both of those items, the Fang and the Fang and the scythe, up and down, huge.
The Fang is, again, it's the accessibility thing. Even the Shadow is falling in price. The Shadow has become easier and easier for me to do on a rebuild just because the problem is, I mean, it's even down 2 mil from what it was last night when we looked at it. It's too easy. I'm going to sound like a boomer elitist. It's too easy to obtain. They're not locked behind any invocation levels. The Fang is one of the most common drops you get out of TOA. And I think having TOA be accessible is fine. I think the way they have structured the purples is not.
Mhm.
It's not impossible to get a shadow in an entry mode raid. It's really not. It's hard, but it's not impossible. It should be impossible.
Yeah, it
It
shouldn't
should
be
be
on the
impossible
table.
to see a shadow. It should be impossible to see a shadow below 300. It should be impossible to see a Fang below 200. You know, it like they should have encouraged people to do a lot better to make a lot more money. That way things like the Ward and the Light Bearer will have a lower point threshold or a lower value, but you're still kind of pushing people out of their comfort zone into whatever, you know.
Yeah. I feel like we've talked about
Oh
it.
well.
The day
Raids
one.
4.
Yeah, raids 4. Day 1 they should have swapped the Ward and the Fang drop rates. I feel like that would have solved a lot of stuff, but you're right. The shadow should be locked behind experts. Like you do a money 150 and get a shadow, it's kind of crazy. The threshold to get a shadow at 150 with how easy that raid is to do at a 150, especially in a solo. It's crazy. Cuz like the threshold of doing a solo chambers or even a solo like challenge mode, if people do those,
Yeah.
it's a lot different. And nobody's soloing Tob, so
Not for purples. It's more
Yeah.
of like an achievement thing than
Yeah.
it is for a purple thing. And I mean, yeah, I don't know. Ulm is significantly harder than TOA in a solo. That's
there's
just
a
the
lot more
long and short of it.
mechanics.
Like
Yeah, a lot more mechanics to worry
Ulm
about.
changes dramatically from a trio or a 5-man to a solo. Even from a duo to a solo, Ulm is completely different.
Mm.
Completely different.
Yeah, I don't think I've done a duo chambers in a while. At least not in the
fine.
iron.
It's not bad. It's really not.
Have you been able to solo chambers yet?
I have before, yeah. I've had to suicide. Like you just run in there with an inventory full of brews and kill yourself and then go right back in. So I've not done a deathless one.
Mm.
But I have done like 3 to 5 solo chambers, I think. Like I could go. Is anyone standing around me? No, they're not. All right. PB Cox solo. My PB for a solo chambers is 42.27, which is slow as
Mm.
so. But yeah.
Nice. That's pretty slow, but you're not going for speed.
I'm not going for Paul, I'm going for tone.
I did have something I wanted to tell you. And I was thinking about this
Oh?
last night. When we were doing our chambers last night, you were refusing to take gear. You're like, I'm a bronze man mode GIM.
Oh, I'm
And-
out here trolling. I was trolling Michael, and he was not very pleased about it. He kept trying to give me gear. You guys know how I feel about handouts.
Listen,
Even if they're handouts that
listen.
I have earned on the account and
I
put in
have-
group storage.
I have
You
a
know how I feel about
legitimate.
handouts.
I'll have a legitimate statement that I think you should chew on it. If you want to play as a bronze man, I will respect that. If you want to go and get all of your own gear, that's fine. But you can't have it both ways. You can't say, I want to get my own gear, but then not actually do the content to get the gear. You feel me? Like you say, I want to get my own
What are
zombie
you
axe.
referring to?
Have you even gotten the quest for Defender of Eric done? I don't think so.
I'm gonna blow your mind when I tell you what quest I did last night.
Did you do it?
ornery
But you don't play your GIM as
No, I don't.
You don't. So like
That's why I don't take stuff, because it's more inconvenient for me to have to log in and give the shit back to the group than it is for me to just not take it to begin with.
right. So let me clue you in on a little secret. That was
Yeah,
how
go
it
ahead, clue me in.
was. I'll clue you in. That was how it was when we started the group, right? Because we didn't have a lot of stuff to go around. But if there's something in group storage now, it's probably because it's extra. The reason that there's a zombie axe in group storage is because it's yours. There's a reason there's a berserker ring in there is because it's yours.
Berserker ring, actually. The berserker ring actually is mine. I don't know who I gave mine to, but it disappeared. See you later, Lithian.
So nowadays, yes, the stuff in there, it's yours. It's because we have extras, not because for some reason gear is just sitting in the store. Like there's a bunch of Barrows items in there, right? That's all dupes that I've gotten that I don't want sitting in my bank. It's all in there for you guys to take. It's free items. So we need to shift that mindset a little bit of this is not gear that somebody has put in there because there's not on their account. It's extra. All the extras go in group storage. So if it's in there, take it. No one's going to ask for it back. I promise you that. Not me, at least. Anything that's in there, I put in there, it's because I don't need it. So you can have that zombie axe. It's yours. Please take it.
I'm sure somebody in our group will enjoy it. I'm sure somebody will.
Anyway, I didn't expect to get through to you, but I had to put it out there.
Of course you're not going to get through to me, Michael. I don't do handouts. I don't like the idea of anyone saying, oh, you only got this because so-and-so gave you this. I hate it. The only exception to that rule was the Tebow and Missouri for the Inferno. And that's because I made it to Zuck 4 fucking times with a Bofa. And people were like, you're done. I can't stand this anymore. Stop milking it. Here's max gear. Just get the cake. That's the only time. The minute I hear, well, you wouldn't have anything if you didn't get the zombie eggs I got for you, it's over. I'm never fucking playing the account again. So I'm telling you straight up, I'll get my own zombie eggs. I'll get another berserker ring. And any extra shit that I get, I'll put in the chest. You get so angry about this, but you know damn well, if I get a purple, I don't get to keep it. I put it in the chest for you, the guy that plays the account. So don't make it seem like I'm the asshole here because I don't want to take the zombie axe. What I tell you last night, you still got Oxie's skill set, all right? Just because you got Oxie's actual bank value reflected in the gear, right? I still know how to play the game. I think I died in Ulm twice for the first time in like a year. And it's because I didn't have 99 hit points. I genuinely was like, I got 99 everything. I'll be fine. And I got stacked for like a 67 and died. And I'm like, I shouldn't have died from that. No, it's because I only have like 80 something HP. I'm just like not used to the lower stats and things like that. Doing raids, but like I still know how to do everything, you know?
I think
so. Trust me, I can do it with the Dragon Scimitar. I almost tried to pot Tob last night, and I'm like, I don't have any brews. I don't think I'm gonna do that.
I think you're playing the wrong game mode. Genuinely. If that's your mindset,
I am.
Game like group Iron Man.
My job is to
we're a group.
Make your life more pleasant.
We are a
my job. My job
a communal
is to make your
society.
Life more
it's not
in Iron Man.
Then I don't want that. I want you to be. I want your life to be enjoyable, and I feel like
I have an enjoyable life. I'm rune crafting on my face.
You're playing the wrong account.
I can't even get through that one without laughing, dude. Holy shit. This skill sucks, dude.
Just take the zombie.
There's no way D4 Drake said you only have this podcast because Michael gave it to you. That's it. I'm done. I'm out of here.
Oh, anyway. Well, I think we babbled. We babbled and yapped enough. Somebody in the comments is going to tell everybody when the podcast starts. So what are we talking about today? Oxie, my man.
What are we talking about today?
Oh,
won't take the zombie X, but has matching tattoos. That's a different thing, okay?
That's IRL.
It's a different thing. Yeah, it's totally different. That's the thing. We had kind of talked about it, and there's not a ton happening right now. They made some small changes from the mini game poll, and they have banned death matching. but like that's the summation of the news post. Like the changes have went through, and you're not allowed to deathmatch anymore. By the time this episode comes out, that will be banned.
Darox.
Tier
Armor
list of
said
things to do while driving. Focus on the road. S tier. Everything
S
else
tier.
F tier. What's wrong with you guys? What?
Press the gas.
You
S
gotta,
tier.
but we need to take a break
Press
on
the
these damn
brake.
tier lists. We've done
F
way
tier.
too many in these last.
So I
couple
shouldn't
of
be
months.
at stars right now. No.
Jesus Christ. Anyways, Michael and I, we also discussed like what are some things people really like hearing about, and it's like, spending money, getting upgrades, things like that. People want to know how to progress their accounts. But a lot of the stuff we've talked about recently hasn't changed. So we're not just going to repeat ourselves over and over and over again, right? There needs to be time between those episodes. So in a last-ditch effort to avoid skipping an episode, because we don't want to do that, right? We want to provide you guys with some content. Today, we are finally going to finish the fun questions from the 3-year anniversary. I think we have 5 or 6 left. So we're going to get through some fun questions. And then we have more fun. We have another fun question for the end of the episode. So this is going to be kind of RuneScape related, but I think all these questions are like fun RuneScape, if that makes sense.
Okay. I don't remember any of them, so I'm kind of excited.
Okay. Then let's kick us off real crazy. And if we've answered any of these before, we apologize. They weren't highlighted on our sheet. And I think there's one that we may have answered. And I'll go over it with you here if we have or haven't. But real crazy says on March 7th, 2024. What other games would you like to see have? I can see now why these are tough. What other games would you like to see OSRS have crossovers with, similar to what they had with the game Smite? And do you think it would be an idea to add characters and locations from other games into OSRS? Do you think it would be a good idea to add those characters in to OSRS? Off the rip, adding characters and locations from other pieces of media that are not RuneScape 3. Ooh. This game has a lot of nods and homages to things of other media, even RS3. There's that great bit in A Kingdom Divided where you go around the house and you pick up the book and it said it's a book on summoning, but that's not really your style. You put it down and walk away from it. This game does a really good job paying tribute to other pieces of media like that. But if we got like Star Wars skins or like Lord of the Rings skins, or like, you get to fight Godzilla, not actual Godzilla. I don't think I would like that very much, to have other stuff be brought in to old school RuneScape,
Yeah, I kind of agree. It'd be a little too world breaking for me. There's probably a fine line between like close references, because you mentioned Lord of the Rings, like it's fantasy. We're playing a fantasy MMO. They could do things that are similar. They could have, we have elf cities. There's elf cities. Like there are things that they're kind of parallel. So they could be very close, but an outright like you see Frodo and Sam just walking around, that would be a little world breaking, because I'm like, this is the world of Gielinor. That's whatever whatever land is
Middle Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's a big difference between right-clicking and examining a giant eagle, which I don't think this is their description in game, but it would be cool if it was. If you right-clicked one of those eagles and it said "Fly, you fools," that's a fun little Easter egg homage.
Yeah,
that's all we need right there, right? Beyond that, I don't know. And it's tough. Like if you're talking like Lord of the Rings specifically, Lord of the Rings is essentially the foundation on which all fantasy is built in the modern age, in the last like 100 or so years. There is fantasy and mythology dating back across cultures for thousands of years, right? Even like Greek mythology could be a form of fantasy. You know, like people have always had these fantastical visions of things. But in the last 100 or so years, Tolkien's, universe that he's created is kind of like defined seemingly all major fantasy pieces, you know? Like you can see it in like a game like D&D, which is a game that RuneScape is partially based off of, like combat encounters are not quite as, it's not like Baldur's Gate where it's like turn based, but you have your skills that are based on like D&D rolls and things like that, because everything is just a skill check. Everything is roll a D whatever and see if you pass the skill check in order to get it. What do you roll high enough to get a fish every 5 ticks? Do you roll high enough to have an attack land on a boss? Is your DC higher than your boss's AC? And if it is, now your strength check, what's the damage?
Yeah.
Right? So like it's tough to say it's like it can't be in there at all. But I think if you get too like blatant with it,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't love it.
I think an example of something that worked really well was what they did at the Grand Exchange, where they had like those board games that they made kind of RuneScape themed.
Yeah.
That's an example of something that is like you can play checkers and what's the other ones? Do they have chess over there? I don't think they do.
It's no, they don't have chess, but they have like Connect 4.
Oh yeah,
and shit
Connect 4.
Like that. Like
so you can play some real life board gamey things in game with your friends. But if they had like where you could play golf with friends or something, it'd be kind of weird.
yeah.
I don't know though. Like the world of Gielinor, what they did with was it League of Legends, and that's cool.
Smite.
What is it called?
Smite.
Okay, it's neat. I don't know that I've never played Smite before, but like seeing the Wise Old Man and what was it, Zilliana? There was like RuneScape themed skins that you could have. That's cool. You could do that with a lot of games like that. Like Fortnite, you could have RuneScape, have the Wise Old Man running around. Halo, kind of, but like that would be a little weird. Having
you could do like weapon charms and shit.
Yeah,
like
I didn't think about that. That's actually true. Little stickers, maybe
for some things. Like if you want to talk about like first person shooters, for example, Call of Duty has become an egregious mess of like you're running around as like Nicki Minaj and shit. Like it's kind of lost the plot with its like operators
Call of Duty?
from what it was even a couple of years ago. Yeah, there's like a Nicki Minaj operator skin. They're adding like IRL wrestlers like Rhea Ripley and Cody Rhodes. They may already be out in the game. And they're adding like WWE finishing moves as like assassinations. So like Call of Duty has lost the plot with its cosmetics, in my opinion. I've not played the game in quite some time, so I don't want to shit on a game I haven't played, but like,
it used to be a very serious war game. I mean, that's how I grew up seeing it as.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is. It's I don't know, dude. It's lost the plot, I guess is the best way I can describe it. If I saw like a Wise Old Man operator skin in that game, I'd be like, that's a little weird. But like if I saw, the like the rocks, the RS rocks with like the sword between them as like a weapon charm, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Or like I'm trying to think like in Halo, all the emblems for nameplates and things like that, you could have like the DFS would be a pretty cool nameplate.
You could do like the god symbols,
any of, like the skill icons. God symbols, like those could be fun. Like those could be fun as little whatever. As far as like characters are concerned, this is the tough part for me about having like skins dedicated to RuneScape. Right? Is unless they're boss skins, every player looks different. Until you get to like the max, everyone's doing the highest level shit possible, where they all have blood Torva and they all have kitted scythes and infernal max capes and things like that. Not everybody looks the same. Like even doing skilling right now, like I look terrible. I have like half graceful, half remnants of the eye, stuff like that, like roll bottoms of the eye, and like the agility skill cape, a blood fury for some reason, for the fashion scape. So like everyone looks different throughout this game. So adding like a custom RuneScape skin always feels kind of weird unless it's like a named NPC. But I think you could add elements of RuneScape, which would be fun. Like games that allow you to have hats, or like you said, golf with friends as an example. Golf with friends, but you can add the ancestral hat in there, or like the rune full helm. Like stuff like that to give RuneScape a name in other games. I think would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Or like if you want to mod it in, like there's a lot of room for modding. I know Skyrim is still the best Bethesda game in the last 15 years. All of you Oblivion haters off me. I said 15, relax. Or Oblivion lovers, rather. Skyrim haters, Oblivion lovers. I don't think I've met anyone who hates Oblivion. I've yet to play it. I own it, but I've yet to play it on Steam. I think you could do really cool things in a game like Skyrim and like mod RuneScape armor in there. That would be super cool. I'm sure somebody has done it, right? Game's been around for 12 years. I'm sure somebody has modded RuneScape stuff. Even if it's not in Skyrim, they've modded it into something.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that stuff is cool. Like individual little pieces,
Yeah.
And then also like any references, Easter eggs are cool too.
Yeah. I think it would be really funny if, and this is kind of keeping it close to home, if you had RuneScape 3, you had like old school RuneScape graphics, like items. So like if you had a Fang with old school graphics, but it's in RuneScape 3's world, so it just looks out of place and it kind of looks pixelated and it's not, soft and defined. And it's an old school style without the 117, that is, as like a cosmetic skin. So that if we have weapons that are the same, they do. Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they have. I could look up. Hold on. RS3 Rune Armor Cosmetic. I think they have that. I'm pretty sure they have a item in the shop where you can, because like Rune Armor in RS3 looks very different from what it looks like in the game.
Yeah.
I am trying to look at, yep, here it is, the bundles and shit. It's called the replica armor. And yeah, it truly looks like, here, I'll send a picture of it to the chat.
Okay.
Like that is, it's a cosmetic skin you can get from their marketplace.
Oh, cool. Yeah, like that. Stuff like that. Where
they used to have all the pets for old bosses, particularly the DKs, used to have the old OSRS sprites. But they removed that recently and it made me really sad.
That's the word I'm looking for, is sprites. So basically just have a way that you can transmog things in RuneScape 3, more than just like the armor sets, but it's the actual sprite. So it looks really out of place. It'd be like if you took old school Mario from like Super Mario World 64 and you put it in a modern Mario world. It's just going to look out of place. But I think that would be really funny. And even going the other way around, like if you had an RS3 sprite ported and we could like use it in old school, it would look super modern and super graphical, but it's in our kind of pixelated world.
Yeah, could be neat.
Thank you for the question.
Oh yeah, they have a whole thing, replica rune plate armor. Replica plate metal. Yep, sure enough. It's a whole section of the shop in RS3. It's pretty cool.
That's so funny that they call it replica.
I know, it's weird, isn't it?
It is a replica.
I thought they had like Barrow stuff in there for a while at least.
Yeah, because
You
they have
get
like
the old
the
Barrows items, but
metal trimmed and gold trimmed. That's sticking to the roots, which I really appreciate. Like in a game that's over
Mhm.
20 years old, having the ability to not just like take these things out of the game, but really stick to the roots. Like it's not even referencing old school, it's just referencing itself, which is cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool. But yeah, thanks for
But
that
yeah, thank you,
question.
real
Real
crazy.
crazy. Hopefully that was the answer
we
you
have
wanted.
more here.
We have more.
Yeah. Of course we do. We have lots more. So Shady asks, which in-game pet do you think has the craziest backstory before getting adopted?
Oh gosh.
And as a follow-up, while thinking about that question, which pet deserves its own storyline and or quest?
I may be biased, and this may just be because it's the only pet I can think about right now, but the Bloodhound, um, having like a storyline, not specifically with the Bloodhound, but with Watson, having a quest line where we go investigate something with Watson or related to Watson would be cool. I think he's kind of an underused character. Really, I mean, he's used, obviously, but Sherlock and Watson being in the world of RuneScape, but not being utilized together for anything other than just like this really niche thing is kind of sad. So having the Bloodhound be
Mhm.
involved, but man, what is the pet that has the most interesting backstory? I'm looking at all the pets right now, and there are some ones that you could say like the Baron or any of like the crazy boss pets. But I'm thinking more so a like a beaver. It's really simple, but you could fabricate some crazy things that happened. Cram says the blue herring about how it's a fishing pet. I'm not going to get into that because that's going to spark a whole different conversation that we're not ready for. But um, do you have any? Do you have an answer for this one? This is kind of an out
You
there question
know,
for me.
I think honestly, how a nibbler managed to escape the inferno
Ooh,
would make a interesting little short story, and why it chose to follow you around. That could be fun. I think like a lot of these pets could have interesting little side short stories, almost
mm-hmm.
like a Disney 5 or 10 minute animated thing about like why the raccoon followed you after it saw you stealing,
No,
fish or something like
yeah.
that. Like that could be fun for some of the little pets that follow you. Um, but obviously it'd have to be more of the like animal pets, because like D4 Drake brings up a good point. He says Zarpus, which is a transmog for the Verzik pet. How in the world do you explain? It's just like a miniature person. Like Verzik is a person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you just have a mini version of her following you around, Like how does that work? What is the story that
What's the
goes into
story?
that? It's like a honey, I shrunk the most dangerous entity in Mauritania, save for maybe our boy Lawernial Draken. Uh like and she just follows me around. That's weird, you know? So
Ooh,
I don't know. I feel like that could be something.
who stuffed a phoenix into a crate and how you came about with that crate would be kind of fun.
It would also be pretty fun. Yeah. Especially how long has the Phoenix been dormant for?
Yeah.
You know?
I would like to
Phoenix, because
talk
they don't really
about.
exist. I mean, they do exist in this world. There's a thing. There's two of them, I think. There's a Firebird on Entrana, and there's a Phoenix in the desert. So, like, Phoenix do exist in OSRS. That could be fun.
I want to know, and I want to talk to the developer who decided to model the omelet. I have words for them because it's disturbing to say the least.
Now you want to talk about something we talked about ad nauseum? Omelet. Oh God, it's just terrible.
Again, we should probably move on for the sake of time. Moving on.
For the sake of our sanity.
Also, another
Here's
one.
an interesting one.
Before we move on, I got another one because I have this pet. But if you haven't read Rocky, not Rocky, but the Rock Golem from the mining pet. If you haven't read his dialogue, he is the most depressed little guy in the entire game. Every sort of recolor that he has different dialogue, and one of them is actually a nod to Star Wars. It's kind of fun, but he has different dialogue for every single ore that you change him, and he's so depressed. Poor little guy. So if you got a second, go on the wiki and just read his little dialogue options. It's kind of funny.
As a man who was quite depressed while mining, I get it. I really do. You know, I get it fully. So moving on, the Taco Daddy, aka DJ Butter 6000.
DJ Butter.
I think it's DJ, comma Butter 6000. So I think like DJ is what you call him, and then Butter 6000 may have been his former name. This is a while ago. Which canonically good NPC in RuneScape would you be the least surprised if they were caught committing insurance fraud? So which good guy in this game is most likely to commit insurance fraud?
Frick. Anytime these types of questions come up, and we answer questions about NPCs a lot, and it's embarrassing that it happens this often. But anytime we talk about an NPC, my mind goes blank, and I can't think of anybody except like really basic NPCs. Like my first thought was Fortunato. Like he's a good guy, but he's got to make ends meet.
I mean, but
So
is he
he's doing
canonically good?
I mean, I don't know. Like he doesn't have a backstory, so what is canonically good? That's
That's
what
what
I'm
we don't know.
having a hard time thinking about. Because like the wise old man is not canonically good. He robbed a bank, killed people.
He's gray at best.
He's like, what is that? What's his alignment? Essentially, it's not good. It's not lawful good. Chaotic good, maybe.
He's a true neutral if I've ever seen one.
True neutral. Probably the Duke in Lumbridge, maybe. He's a pretty good guy. He's like fighting racism, fighting all the atrocities in the world, but maybe Lumbridge is struggling, and
he's out there like overestimating the
just,
value of shit.
Yeah, like one of his towers just caught fire for some reason, and he got got an insurance payout.
Oh no, I insured it for 50 billion GP. That's crazy, bro.
I had so much gear in that tower. But it's all like,
oh no,
it's all sticks, unstrung bows.
Yeah, unstrung bows and like super flammable like strings and shit like that. Let's see another good insurance fraud NPC. I don't know why I scrolled over to Lunar Isle, and the two people that came to mind were the Orinomancer and Baba Yaga. Could you imagine either one of those two committing insurance fraud?
Baba Yaga probably.
Like, but like, we have this like good god queen Orinomancer, and she's just like, cashing checks off of people because she can like, oh yeah, here's this one guy, Drezel or whatever his name is from the Dream Mentor quest. I'm his life insurance benefactor.
Oh, that type of insurance fraud? Oopsie. House just stepped on him.
That'd be pretty funny, I
wasn't thinking life
but
insurance.
also like I think similar for like the property and things like that. King Narnode kind of comes to mind.
Oh, true. He's got a kingdom to run, man.
He does have a kingdom to run. So like who's really going to stop him if he commits insurance fraud?
Nobody.
That's the
Nobody
king
can stop
you're
him.
talking to. Hold on. This poses a different question that kind of goes off of this. Is there one insurance provider? Or do we think multiple races and cities have their own different insurance providers?
Surely. Like, do you
think...
Well, can you imagine the politics of different kingdoms having to share the same insurance provider? Like, do you think Mistlin is really going to agree to the terms like Asgarnia wants to have for their business dealings? Like
See, that seems
the
like U.S. and Canada, which is so funny because we have wildly different healthcare systems
exactly.
between the U.S. and Canada. So it could be.
We're basically the same.
But like, how do you do life insurance policies on humans and gnomes and elves? Like, taking out the fact that adventurers can come by and kill them, like the expected lifespans for these races are wildly different, you know?
Yeah. Elves just never die, so they don't need life insurance. But think about it like this. I think in the lore of Gildenor, you are the only like true adventurer. Yes, this is a massively multiplayer online, or whatever we call them, MMO. But like, I don't think that everyone else canonically is recognized. Like when you're doing these quests, it's not like, oh yeah, Jimmy, he did this quest 2 weeks ago, but we're gonna reset it for you. Like this is the first time anybody has ever helped this cook make a cake is when you did it. So adventurers, I think canonically are not too common. So they wouldn't think like, oh, like a random guard in Varrock is not just going to get randomly murdered 600 times a day. So, you know, they're uninsurable.
I mean, they do reference it several times.
Do they?
Guards' life expectancies are very short, yeah.
Especially in Falador. But I don't know. Yeah, that does pose a good question. Like, I think within the races of man and human, I should say, there's probably some sort of like standardized, we have this, but then do dwarves and elves and gnomes even care about that type of thing? That seems like a very human concern. Because there are some like culturally, you know, like maybe they're really laid back. I know the elves are kind of solid, you know, they like their solitude, and dwarves just want to dig, but you know, maybe they don't care, and maybe this is just like a human concern. But again, the policies of the different realms, I don't think they're mixing. I really think that like the different kingdoms have their way of doing it, and it's not just like one blanket monopoly company.
Thank God.
Thank God.
I had a thought of who I thought would be funny, and it's gone now. Unfortunately, it's
never get it back. Dang.
You know? Well, thank you, Taco Daddy. Now, I was going to ask this question a while ago with Bird on the podcast, but I ended up asking a different one. So, because I said it was between two questions from my former bingo teammates. So, my boy Shinkiro wants to know, if Jagex was to make a movie/TV series adaptation for OSRS and it had to follow a quest storyline, what quest storyline would make the best film or series adaptation?
I feel like we've answered this in a roundabout way several times within friend questions
over the years. It's been like 3.5 years, so I'm sure we've talked about this before.
D4 Drake says Desert Treasure would be cool, and that it would be a really good like Indiana Jones style movie.
Desert Treasure 2, though, what do we think that would look like as a movie or a TV show? What do we think Desert Treasure 2 realistically would look like?
It's a lot of different things. Like you have the 4 bosses, and you have like the 4 different themes. So maybe they could do part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. Or maybe it's a TV show and there's 4 seasons, and like each season explores a different demi-boss, and then, or 5 seasons, and then the final season is you in the Majorat, and like there's backstory that we're not seeing in the quest of the Majorat, and maybe it goes back in time to when these guys were in power or younger. Or I wish I knew more about the Majorat. I think maybe that's what I'm thinking about, is like more so like the backstory to the story we got. Because with Game of Thrones, we had 4 to 5 really good seasons, 8 seasons total. But now they're exploring in like House of the Dragon and Night of the Seven Kingdoms. They're exploring the backstory to the main story that we got, and I think that adds a lot of context. So in a grand story like Desert Treasure, it would be really cool to be able to go back in time to when some of these characters that have like the Stone of whatever in the newest quest, the Stone of Jas. Like, why is that so important? We've only seen like a couple snippets of it in cutscenes and in dialogue, and I'm sure we'll get.
It's like one of the 3 major like elder artifacts that can like take over the world. It's the Stone of Jas, the Horn of whoever, and then the Staff of Armadale. I'm blanking on the horn. Backstory of Duke being captured. I don't think the Duke was captured. I think the Duke ran the prison. I'm pretty sure the Duke ran the prison and then just went crazy and started eating the prisoners. Because if you read the actual dialogue of the stuff in there, because I mean, again, the first day that was the scariest part of the quest, because you are meant to feel isolated.
Yeah.
And I did that quest alone on my laptop in my office with my door closed. I was not in VC. I was not talking to anybody. And I went through that hallway by myself and that shit was spooky. But like when you read the pages and things, there's like the other people who are in the prison are like, he ate them. He actually ate the prisoners. Holy shit. You know? So it's like the thing they're trying to keep the Duke contained in there. They're not trying to like, you know, oh, we didn't lock him in there after the fact. I think he was in charge of the place, you know? So some like backstory stuff like that. But I also think like depending on the exposition that you can provide, right? Like for a while, Game of Thrones did a really good job portraying the horrors of war and both the tyranny and the beauty of the Targaryen reign, right? Like they allude to Balerion the Black Dread, and all you see is this giant skull, and it was the largest creature ever to live, right? We've still not seen Balerion on screen, but we as viewers have a context of like big, scary, frightening black dragon, right? Run by a guy who wanted to take over the country and then did, you know? I think if you provide the proper exposition for Desert Treasure 2, you wouldn't need like a prequel series of the Majorat, which does kind of lead into one of the ideas that I would have. But I think the toughest part for me are, number one, I guess it's so much different as like a video game player, right? Like we're doing the quests because we're motivated to get the rewards, right? And learn more about the story. Why would a TV character be doing that? Why would an animated TV show character not just leave the temple alone? You know, what motivation do they have to go in there and like mess around with the temple? You know, what backstory and experience do they have to stop the Leviathan? Right? I don't mean it because like that's the boss I'm the worst at. I mean it as like that thing is an eldritch horror. All 4 of them are eldritch horrors. How is a relatively regular person gonna single-handedly do all this stuff? You know, like I feel like there's got to be some sort of greater explanation. And then we're kind of used to, as RuneScape players, because of the history of Desert Treasure, being okay with not knowing the identity of the assassin. Wow, that is a terrible TV trope. To have this person hunting you for an entire series and then you just don't find out who they are.
Yeah.
Like who they are, who they're working for. You can assume they're working for Sliske. You know? And don't get me wrong, you can have some really good moments in Desert Treasure 2 as well. You could have truly horrifying scenes when Sliske transforms into all the different NPCs that you interacted with. You know, I was there to witness everything, kind of a deal. No, you can have a lot of fun with, again, like when you're with Cassandre or whatever his name is, doing the zombies, like that could be a crazy sequence.
Yeah,
I don't know
absolutely.
how it makes sense for a TV show. That's the or a movie. Like that'd be my only problem with Desert Treasure 2. Because like other stories, you know, like you get kind of drawn into them as a player. Like Song of the Elves, for example. You kind of get like recruited to do shit. You know, like Desert Treasure 2 is entirely optional. Just leave the fucking temple alone and you're good. You don't have to worry about it. Just like, no thanks, Asgarnia. I'm all set. And just leave. But like as early as Plague City, you know, you're tasked with helping a father find his daughter. And then it turns into executing the king in public and stopping a corrupted god from destroying the world. Right? Like
Yeah, there's
we have a
backstory
start
and
point.
build up. Yeah.
Yeah, like we have a starting point of like how we got there, you know? I would personally really like to see a God Wars TV series. I would really like to see some I would really like to see the death of Zaros and you know the creation of the edicts and like the actual, you know, what did the world used to look like before it was all torched and burned in the wilderness? You know, what did all these great Zerosian settlements, what were they? You know, that would be super cool to see. Kind of like, again, referencing Game of Thrones, kind of like House of the Dragon, where we can see what the Targaryen dynasty was truly like and how big these dragons really were. I think it would be cool to see that kind of a backstory. And then also for the sake of like film drama and suspense, it would be really cool to end a first iteration of the Elven storyline with a like, there is no plague, cut to the credits. Like, oh, that'd be horribly suspenseful. That'd be great.
I would like to see a quest where this is kind of veering off from the question, but you talking about the wilderness and stuff kind of sparked this idea of your character, and it could be a God Wars quest, it could be in that storyline, but your character is taken back in time and you're able to walk through the wilderness in its prime. It's not the wilderness, it's not scorched. There's cities, there's people, there's roads, there's life. You're able to see what it was like before it became the wilderness, and kind of like parallel worlds, like it flashes in and out, like you're walking and there's a building there, but then it flashes and it's destroyed and it's dark, and then it flashes back and it's bright and there's birds singing and there's like, you know, trees and squirrels, and it's just like this parallel. I don't know, it gives me kind of chills just thinking about what that was in its prime to what it is now. Like seeing old Valyria in Game of Thrones to the destruction that happened after, and the ruins versus the height of its majesty. That would be really cool, because the wilderness is one of those places where there's so much lore behind why it is the way it is that we kind of just accept it as this. It's the PvP zone. We just kill people there, and you know, there's like cool demi bosses, like this giant bear that just roams around, and a giant spider. But you know, it has lore. There's a reason it's the wilderness. We just don't talk about it.
That is the one sad part about this game, is that the story beats of this game could make it AAA. You know, and we could get into the next fun question, kind of like with this transition as well. But like people praise games like the new God of War games for being such good story games. I don't mean to to glaze here, but the way the quests have been written since like 2020, top tier.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even before that, like as far back as like 2017, 2018, like the team they brought in to make quests for old school RuneScape, they have not missed. Right? Like if I'm going to go to my quest list right now, and I'm going to sort this based on release order. Quest list sorting, release date. By release, we're gonna go down to 2016 when they got the first quests out. Let me see. Of the quests that I'm like, Mistle and Mystery, they just did it because people liked the Halloween event that's year. That Mistle and Mystery is literally a Halloween event, and they just turned it into a quest. Bon Voyage makes me want to scream. They started releasing some of the like some of the Koren storylines. They released the prereq for Dragon Slayer 2. The next year they continued the vampires. They did DS2. They continued the trolls, which was a great quest. 2019 they continued Koren. They wrapped up Fremennik, Song of the Elves. 2020 was a slow year, as we all know, but we got Sins of the Father, which we're still waiting on. Lord of Vampirium. Mod Ed, please, Lord of Vampirium in the Summer Summit. Please, 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 please. Can we get Lord of Vampirium in the Summer Summit? And then 21 through to 24, they have not missed. You know?
Absolutely.
Like, even the small ones that are like not super meaningful, you know, like Temple of the Eye, Path of Gluffrey, you know, Below Ice Mountain, A Night at the Theater, like even the little ones have been pretty good.
And those were to build onto a bigger story. Because I think one of the craziest things that we realized when Desert Treasure 2 was announced, it's like, these are all connected. We just didn't know. We didn't know.
We did. Some people did.
So I didn't know.
We didn't. But some people did.
Yeah, some people figured it out.
The Rune Hunters, I think I went on the Desert Treasure 2 wiki. I don't know why. I went on there for something. And they were teasing this shit for years in like the post bag from the hedge. It was like years prior to the quest release. They had like the Chaos Elemental teasing the 4 Desert Treasure 2 bosses.
What?
Like mentioning that they were blood and ice and shadow and smoke and like describing them all to us, you know, and like especially if we got to get Tiki back in here to talk about how much work went into like figuring out that something was coming for Desert Treasure 2. And now I bet we have to wait another 2 or 3 years for Ritual of the Majorat. Unless they are truly putting all their eggs and they say, hey, Ritual of the Majorat will be out in summer 2025. I think we're going to have to wait a while. Because that's going to be what brings all of this together. This is going to be the Avengers Endgame of this story. I don't know if they're going to call it Ritual of the Majorat, because I think Desert Treasure 2, the equivalent, right? The sequel to Desert Treasure is like the Temple of Santistan or something in RS3. And it's got similar, but also not similar story beats. Like you don't do any of the shit you do in OSRS. Like you meet some people that are the same, but you don't fight the 4 bosses and shit. I don't know how they're going to do Ritual of the Majorat, but it's going to be crazy when they do. And I wish they forced you to watch this stuff. I wish this game had, I don't want to say more unskippable cutscenes, but I wish they were like a full actual game of cutscenes and not just dialogue you can space bar through, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
At least the first time you play it.
Well, the way that they would solve that is by doing voice acting, which I hope one day we get voice acted quests, or at least to make like a plugin of something Somebody does it.
Somebody reached out to me about that. Didn't I tell you about that?
Mm-mm.
Somebody, it was like years ago. I did that like because the Karen Chronicles came out prior to Kingdom Divided. So I read one on YouTube and posted like late 2020, something like that. And like 2 years later on Twitter, somebody was like, "Hey, I found your video. Do you mind if I use this for a Quest plugin?" I'm like, "Sure,
Ooh.
fine by me." And it just never went anywhere from there. But I recently saw this on YouTube and I clicked on it, but I didn't get a chance to watch it. I found it here. It is a video by Rosie RS. It's got 50,000 ish views, and it is I animated RuneScape's most iconic quest. And this person went out and animated Dragon Slayer. So that could be really fun to watch. And it seems
Ooh.
like Rosie RS has a bunch of videos.
That's one reason I think I would be drawn to RS3 is because they've added dialogue to the quests. And for me, I think sometimes I have trouble with reading comprehension. Like I'm an audiobook listener through and through because for me, processing information that I'm reading off a page, it's difficult sometimes. And if I'm doing it with like distractions and having to pay attention to it's sometimes it's just easier to have it read to you. And so I think that's one reason I would be drawn to RS3 to do the quests there. Because I've heard in RS3 the quests are top tier.
Yeah.
So
Heard
getting
they're
a
good.
Questscape in RS3 would be kind of fun.
Speaking of reading, I randomly went to Barnes and Noble yesterday. They don't have any benches anymore. Like the Barnes and Noble I went to is. Have you seen the new layout of Barnes and Noble?
Mm-mm.
It's terrible. Go on TikTok and look up new Barnes and Noble compared to the old ones.
Yeah. It doesn't
It's
have
horrible.
that bookstore feel.
It looks corporate. Like
Ugh.
all the books are front facing and everything is that like millennial gray, metallic, minimalist look to it.
I thought we got past
And
that.
no, we still haven't because
Ugh.
now all the damn millennials are in charge of everything in the business corporate world. It's us Zoomers who are going to have to change that shit and add like humanity back into the places we go.
Well, it's
Horrible.
like the Apple Store used to
Anyways.
be really like metallic and streamlined and straight lines, and I think Apple has even gone away from that in some regard, and then people are trying to follow and catch up to what those big companies did, like the tech companies at least. Like you're a bookstore, you're not a tech company. Stop it. They just don't want to be a library.
Yeah.
I think they don't want people to come in, read a book, and then put it away.
Well, that's the worst part. There's no more benches anywhere.
Yeah.
There's no more benches
It
to
makes
sit and
sense.
read.
You shouldn't be going into a Barnes and Noble to read the book. It's not a library. It's one of those things like if you were going to a movie store where you could just put in a movie in a DVD player or whatever, sit down, watch the whole thing, put it back, and walk out. I kind of get it, but I know it's the charm.
I'm not a big reader. Right? I used to joke that I can't read, you know. If you make it through an entire book, if I sat you down with the first Game of Thrones book and you got through that bitch in an entire day, come on, man. And I know what you're thinking. Well, people would just go back. People would just go back and continue to read, and they would never buy any books, and you'd never make any money. What's wrong with that? I understand I work in the humanities field, but like if every day you have a bunch of customers coming in and sampling books and then buying the ones they like, but one poor kid sits and reads for another Shadow in the Clan, holy shit.
Oh, Elven
That's
Reaver
crazy.
though? That's like his third
That's
one.
an Iron Man with a shadow too. That's crazy.
That's like his third one, I think.
That's wild. Anyways, you got one poor kid in there who can't afford to buy books, but has to do shit for school, or like, I don't know, just really wants to read. What is wrong with that? How much money are you realistically losing if you are a diet library? What's wrong with that? That's my question. And that's what's like to me was annoying because I went into this Barnes and Noble and there was an area I could see it. There very clearly used to be benches.
Oh no.
It was like a double wide space between the wall and bookshelves that very clearly you could fit 2 good benches for sitting on in there. Very clearly. And like they still have a Starbucks where you can sit and read and things like that, you know. They did not have the Gift of Gothics in there, which I was disappointed about because I wanted
Ooh,
to buy that
yeah.
book,
That's a book that I wish they did
but they
for
did
audio.
not have it.
I would have bought it like ASAP.
Check Amazon; they might.
No, I did.
I know Barnes and Noble had a digital version, so might as well give it a look. But yeah, I think this transitions wonderfully into our next fun question from Slayoxis Shane, also one of my former bingo teammates. If you could seamlessly recreate OSRS into any other game's engine, what would it be? And I know we have talked about this one at least once or twice.
I think we
over the
answered
years.
this at least. Because I said Baldur's Gate. Like, it would be the perfect match. Just make it.
It could be pretty fun.
It's point and click. You have dialogue. Like, it's the perfect game. The skills would be interesting. But it would just be like hyper graphic RuneScape, which we kind of have with RuneScape 3, but I still count RuneScape 3 as like cartoonish graphics. It's not hyper realistic.
Yeah, they're not really realistic. I feel like it's less about the game as a whole and more about the actual storylines for me. Like, I think it would be really cool to have any and all of these storylines play out in, I don't know, man. Damn it, Blue. She's going to turn my computer off. I think it would be really cool to see these big quest lines in games, you know, like do a God of War style single player for some of the storylines. Do like, if a storyline is a little bit more ambiguous. I know the Borderlands movie came out, which I heard was terrible, by the way. As a Vault Hunter myself, I'm very disappointed to hear that it was dog shit, though I'm not at all surprised. We had the Mario movie, which people liked, and we had The Last of Us, which people liked, and people were like, "Oh my god, video game adaptations, we're doing them right." And sure enough, no, we're not. You know?
Did you say Borderlands when you meant Fallout?
No, I meant Borderlands.
Is that in the same
Borderlands,
world?
loot shooter. Borderlands and Fallout? No.
Oh, okay. Because you said Vault.
Fallout was so
What
Vault
is-
Hunters.
Yeah, what are Vault Hunters?
The vault in Borderlands is this mythical location where there is treasure beyond your wildest dreams, and there could be anything. Loot, guns, money, whatever it is. The vault has it all. The vault's kind of a lie in the first one. And then in Borderlands 2, it kind of opens up until like, oh, there are vaults like everywhere. Holy shit. And then Borderlands 3, you have this like fringe group, the COV, the Cult of the Vault, where it's like led by this evil brother sister duo who are just terrible. And Borderlands 3's had some great stories, and the movie, it was just dog shit. I've heard great things about the Fallout show. I've not watched the Fallout show, but I've heard it was fantastic. But I would like to see stories play out in single player game engines. You know, not like fantasy MMO RPGs. I would like to see nothing open world. Like, give me a level structure, you know, give me something fun to do. Desert Treasure 2 as a single player first person game could be crazy. That could be crazy fun. Could you imagine you get out of the Vardorvis fight, and then you have a cutscene of a woman walking up to you saying like, "Hey, what kind of sandwich do you want?" And then you get stabbed in the ribs and have to have a fight right there with the assassin.
Yeah.
You know, you got
dressed up as the sandwich lady.
You got no ammo. You got very little health and med packs, and you got to find a way to beat this assassin with like basically nothing left to use. Like, that'd be super cool as a single player game.
Yeah, Yeah. And then like the complete opposite, things like Stardew Valley, super pixelated. But that game engine, like you have, I don't know. I mean, RuneScape Classic was kind of 2D-ish. It still was a 3D world. But I think it would be kind of cool as like RuneScape in a side scroller. It'd be kind of hard to do though. There's one game, Terraria.
Just that part from Dragon Slayer 2. Just that one part from Dragon Slayer 2 as a side scroller would be fun.
I haven't done Dragon Slayer 2, so I don't know what you're referencing. I'm excited to do it though. I've seriously been putting off questing. I probably could have my quest cape right now. Desert Treasure, we've been talking a lot about it. I think it's doable on this account where I'm at currently. Sure, having like a blowpipe or a better range weapon would be nice, but I mean, I think I could do it. So I've been putting off questing hard, and I need to do it. I need to get back into it. But yeah, I can't think of any other games. I would be salivating to play a Baldur's Gate style game, Baldur's Gate 3 in RuneScape, with like the RuneScape themes and the skills. Like your character finds a patch of water and you fish for your fish, and then you go find a stove and you cook it. I would salivate for that kind of thing.
That would be a lot of fun, yeah.
Otis says OSR has guns. Man, guns would be OP in this game.
I cast a gun.
Guns, we kind of have them. Range weapons are not really guns, but it's the idea.
It ain't the same.
But like having a machine gun to just mow down like cow fights on a task would be crazy. He says, I liked the World of Warcraft guns. I didn't even know they put guns in World of Warcraft. That's kind of crazy. Oh, what about like World of Warcraft? I mean, there's a lot. I feel like maybe there's too many similarities between WoW and RuneScape for it to be a full-on thing. Ooh, going back to that question, that's about like the different like crossovers. They could do a World of Warcraft in RuneScape 3 or RuneScape old school RuneScape crossover with World of Warcraft. I think those two games would kind of lend themselves well to things being shared.
Could be interesting. It could be.
It'd be kind of crazy to get like a WoW developer on the Jagex team and have that sort of influence. Because I'm sure there's been developers from other games that have come and worked for Jagex and like subtly influenced from past experience.
I'm sure, yeah.
Do you have any other questions?
No, as a matter of fact, we do not. That is all of the fun questions that we had left on the sheet. We had 5 of them today. So every single fun question, all like 60 of them. I got 6 pages of questions here. They're all answered. Every single one of them we have gone through either on the anniversary episode or as a fun question, or we have put a nice little bow on it today with this episode. As always, y'all, keep giving us fun questions. There is a fun question section on Discord, which we will talk about here a little bit later. But if it's a really fun question, you can post it in the Xpwaste chat. You could DM Michael. You could be like Moist Sean and start a clan-wide riot for weeks at a time asking about ranch on rice. You can do whatever you want. You know, if you have a good fun question idea. Even if we've answered it before, as you've seen, right? Like we've been doing this for a really long time. 3.5 years and almost 1 million views, I might add. We are like a week or 2 away from 1 million streams on our Spotify for podcasters. I'll actually go there right now and check it out. How we are looking. I'm really hoping it's not over 1 million. I'm gonna be really sad if I missed it. We are at 987,000 streams.
Woo!
On all of our platforms. So I think either, unless you guys go bananas this week, after next week's episode, we will cross the 1 million listener threshold. and that shit will be wild. So, yeah, we've talked about some of this stuff many times, but we're always happy to keep talking about it. So, I think with that, unless Michael has any other final thoughts for us, I think we're going to send you guys over to break.
Let's send them to break. Get out of here.
All right.
We'll come back.
We will see you guys very, very, very soon. So, you're out of work, and you're looking for a career that'll bring purpose, meaning, and value to your life. Well, look no further. We have the opportunity for you. Here at the Grand Exchange, the customer comes first. One of our regulars always shows up wearing what I assume is like 1,000-year-old armor. Andy has one of those abyssal demons following him around, so I'm pretty certain he just owns this place. Here at the Grand Exchange, you'll find working conditions that are second to none, with employee comfort being one of our highest priorities.
Who thought it was a good idea to give our uniforms long sleeves? It's the middle of July, there's no roof on this place. I'm sweating my balls off out here.
Here at the Grand Exchange, we strive to make each and every day worthwhile for our valued staff.
Kids these days have no respect. I've been working here for 54 years, and I've never once heard a thank you from any one of these adventurers.
Here at the Grand Exchange, we pride ourselves on our calm and comfortable working environment.
I'm sorry, what was the question? I couldn't hear you. There's too many people screaming. They shout the same things all day long. It's like they're robots or something. Is nobody going to do anything about this?
Here at the Grand Exchange, employee health and well-being are among our top priorities.
Oh my god, she wanted all of it. She wanted all 600 million gold pieces. Do you know how much that weighs? I can't feel my legs.
So come on down to the Grand Exchange and submit your application to become one of Gillenor's happiest and healthiest employees. We look forward to serving you while you serve Gillenor, here at the Grand Exchange. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that commercial because I know that I sure did. Folks, it's rune crafting time. It's the time of the show where I hop over this little rock and then run down to the dark altar.
Focus, Oxie. Focus.
With the prayer points that I don't have into another inventory. And this is the craziest part. It's not even the second inventory. It's the first inventory. And if you make a lot of runes in Zaya, you know that there's a uniquely terrible feeling about the first inventory of essence, because you make it and you just gotta like craft it all up, so that's what we're doing for this segment of the show. Actually, is we're all rune crafting together. If you don't want to rune craft with me, that's fine. It does make you only slightly a little bit of a coward, but we'll also talk about the patrons as well, I guess, because that's kind of what the segment of the show is dedicated for. In any case, it's time to shout out the patrons of this month, this week.
This year.
Speaking of this week, we do have a new patron this week, month, year, day, hour, second, with Golf Pout. Welcome to the Wise Old Man tier. Hopefully we see you in the recording booth chat. And if we have, and just your Discord's name is different than your Patreon name, we apologize. But welcome to the party. We are very glad you are here. And the Wise Old Men are also on the screen right now. I realize that quick shout out doesn't give the Wise Old Men enough time. So Gothpelt, welcome to the esteemed league of Wise Old Men. Wise old men, wise old women, wise old them, doesn't matter. You're all WOMs to us. And to that we thank you. Join the recording booth chat. Come hang out with us when we do this little shindig live. During the break, Michael and I looked at a house. Not for him and I necessarily, just like a house. Just one in Texas that his wife sent him. And he said, oh, we'd have to remodel this. And I was about to start swinging because can't be remodeling old houses. But there is one part in the bathroom creates a real bad choke point. that you would absolutely have to remodel because that would drive my big ass insane. Anyways, wise old men, you guys are fantastic. But it is time to shout out the folks in the King Black Dragon tier. I definitely didn't do all that just so you guys would have extra time on screen. I would never. KBD tier folks, the folks who support us at the highest tier and as such get shouted out every single week. So, kicking us off, I looked a couple names down and it's already ruined.
Oh,
for me.
no.
But kicking us off this week, we have Apathy, Boston, Broke 70, Chaos's collection of spicy, steamy, sweaty boss feet pics. My dad. Hi, Dad. Cloud Kicker, Damon S, Dicky Bird, Elite Oreo Dunker, Evil Chicken and Soggy Waffles, which I think was like a chicken and waffles reference from last week. Just sort of like, you know. Hope everyone is having a good day, 666. We're having a good day too, Satan. Our third favorite supporter, Ralph, Run Metal 15, Rylithian, Sparky Life. Just when I thought I couldn't get any worse. Swole's thick, warm Italian cream pies. Why? Why? I know he's talking about a dessert, but why? 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 Swole posted. I'm not even going to give that the credit that I don't think it deserves because we can't. Dear God. Anyways, the Big G Jordy, the Crayola Italian Worn, and War Batroning. Thank you guys so much for your support at the King Black Dragon tier. Thank you to 17 of you. The other 2 of you need to find Jesus. But you guys are fantastic. We love you so much. We love most of you so much. If you would like to support us at the King Black Dragon tier, where you can set your name to whatever you want and we'll read it out loud within reason. But I just said thick, warm Italian cream pies. So the bar is kind of on the floor. You know, you can head over to patreon.com/XPWaste and subscribe as low as $1 a month, as most to $25 a month, but as little as $1 a month. I think you can also follow us for free. We don't really get anything for doing that. So shout out to the Gnome Children. Head over to patreon.com and show your love and support. Or don't. I don't tell you what to do. I'm going to keep doing the podcast either way. But yeah, you guys are fantastic. I'm going to send it over to Michael for the community question. And I am going to start. What do you think I can do? You think I can go to the gym between now and the end of the community question?
I have words for you guys.
You think I could walk to work and back between the time of the community question or not? So Michael, baby girl, take it away. Get some water and get a lozenge.
Listen,
because it's game time.
I have words. Like I said, you guys are going too hard. Let me tell you a little something. There are 36 replies in Discord. There are 14 replies on Spotify, and there are 2 replies on YouTube. We're going to be here all day.
I forgot about Spotify and YouTube.
There is 52 responses to the community question of what is your favorite food? And I love all of you equally, right? But somebody started the IRL and in-game trend, and everybody rolled with it. So I don't know what we're going to do. I think to keep the podcast rolling, I may just have to rapid fire these. Like, I like to respond. I like to make comments. But let me tell you right now, we're going to get through 52 of these, and I am going to go very quickly. I don't think I'm going to respond to any of them. So just...
I should comment on every single fucking one.
You shouldn't. You definitely shouldn't.
Just make this section of the show take like 2 hours.
This could be the show, Oxie. This could be the entire episode. We're going to start on YouTube.
This is going to be the fabled 5-hour episode.
We're going to start on YouTube because that's where we have the least amount of replies. We asked you guys last week, what's your favorite food? 999 says, the birthday cheesecake no one got me on my birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, 999. Boop Snoop Boogie says, They're a pain to make, but I always keep a tuna potato or two in my inventory just in case. Moving on over now to our Spotify replies.
Happy birthday, 999.
Otis says, not my favorite food, but one that got left out was the strange fruit. It doesn't give much run energy, but it came in clutch at times on the early iron. Chips Ahoy says, Karambwan OP. RSN Chips
Chips
Bay.
Ahoy his name or his favorite food?
Masket says, Juicy Lucy. It's a
Like, I
burger
know
where
it's
the
Chips
cheese
FE, but like,
is
it?
cooked inside the patty while it's grilled, and there's a boiling hot juicy squirt of cheese when you take a bite. You have to wait like 15 minutes for it to cool down before you can eat it, and I still burn my tongue every time. The restaurant, there's a Seymour
who
here.
said that?
The restaurant that created it is so famous that Obama went there, and there's a framed photo of him eating a Juicy Lucy at the restaurant. OSRS
Hold
Naptown
on.
says,
I'm not
boys,
I'm not done
First
with
off,
this
thanks
yet.
for the
I'm
wonderful
not done
content to
with this
listen
yet.
to while I paint airplanes
We had
for
a
work.
Juicy Lucy
Second
burger
off,
at a bar.
my
we
main
used to go
answer
to
would
in
be
East Lansing.
anglers,
That
but my
shit
iron-
had mac and cheese in
But
it.
my iron
It was
answer
so
would be
good.
cheese potatoes. Love y'all. Zachary Shoot.
He really doesn't fucking care. He's just going.
Zachary S says, let me put you on 3 eggs, a little runny, 2 thick cut pieces of bacon, everything bagel, raspberry jam, not jelly, the best breakfast sandwich in the world.
Okay, breakfast sandwich. I was
Papa
gonna say
Smurf
2 pieces of bacon ain't
says,
enough for my big ass, but on a
Best
sandwich,
Ors
that's
food
good.
has to be the rotten potato. I hope the day never comes, but if and when OSRS is in its last days of existence, Jagex should give one to each player for the last 48 hours. The servers are up so we can all experience the chaos it would cause. Nathan R says, tuna potatoes. Made a lot of them from scratch as a noob. Still pretty fun. A little food. Kurt says, 1 KC Bloodhound is not a reason. No, it is a reason. Okay, Kurt? 1 KC Bloodhound is not a reason not to do Masters. Get your screenshot and move on. I'm not going to. Daniel H says, my favorite in-game food is monkfish. Fish can cook so many, they carried me through all of the mid-game. P.S. Michael, you need to take Oxie to the nearest Terry Blacks and culture him on some good brisket. Best in the world.
That's strike 1. Hold on.
Crocodile Rock says, do a tier list on our score potions and
steak.
weapons. Look up Poison Chalice and tell me it's the item. That item isn't insane. Cheese says, noodles. There's so many different types, shapes, and textures. Lots of variations, sauces, and meats. Ramens, lo mein, bolognese. If the noodles are bad, it's probably the sauce, not the noodles. OSRS needs noodles. No, not ranch on rice. That sounds like a disgusting
Noodles.
tapioca situation, and I like my steak medium. NG says, sharks are overrated noob traps. Sea turtles heal more, and they are cheaper. Poke Chef says, my favorite food is a heaping helping of beef fried rice. But in OSRS, my favorite food would have to be the reliable Karambwan. Finally, our last reply on Spotify. Wesley says, my favorite food is tacos. Beef tacos go burr. Also, I like my steaks well done. If it ain't fully cooked, it makes me nauseous. Probably a mental thing, but I don't care. Well done or not at all. That's going to do it for our Spotify replies. I apologize I'm going so fast, guys. We have 52 and 36 more. Here we go.
And this is funny enough going to be the record time for community questions because normally he responds to every single one. He's not giving any of you the time of day this week. We got 36 more, Michael. Let's
Here we
keep
go.
going.
And on Discord, the biggest bulk of all. Toast says masala. Swole says traditional gyros in Athens. Also, I don't mind a cheeky pepper and a chunky steak pie with a bit of tomato sauce with a VB at 20 to 8 in the effing morning. OSRS related spinach rolls. Brooks says burnt umli wrap. The burnt? Fizzman says Karambwans for 2 reasons. Number 1, they save you a tick. And number 2, I have way too many of them from an earlier fishing grind. David Diction says manta rays. It's even funnier to imagine downing a whole manta ray in one bite than a whole shark. That is kind of funny. Clues says IRL chicken cutlets in game, lobbies or sharks, nostalgia reasons. Moist Sean says definitely not ranch on rice. Lack of Morel says oysters.
Mo Sean, this is your fault.
Steel Beam says IRL carnitas street tacos. Yum. In game moonlight antelope because it makes bank when cooked. Keg No Yoro, Cage No Yoro says IRL sushi, in-game mystery meat. So strange that the game implies your character enjoys cannibalism. Blech. Zeno, IRL. Next up, Zeno says, IRL, nothing beats a good sandwich. In-game, them cheese potatoes in the Warriors Guild are too nostalgic. Good and cheap, not to be the number one. We're also perfect for leagues. Ketone says, monkfish bring that nostalgia right home. I'm going to take a sip of water. Oxie, do you have any comments so far? No? Great. Moving on. Kyle the Destroyer says, in-game lobster. IRL lobster. Zeno has a good answer, though. Always down for a sando that slaps. Taco Dog says, IRL ribeye steak cooked medium. In-game,
Good answer.
manta rays are definitely my go-to when I go bossing. Walt Kidney says, in-game, I also nostalgic about the tuna. Used to take a full inventory to the cockroach soldiers in RS2. IRL,
Bro, the
nothing beats
cockroach
homemade
soldiers,
lasagna. And since we talked about ranch on rice debate, let me put you on to another pleasantly cursed food hack. 8 ounces of milk, a scoop of chocolate protein powder, and a small mini can of cherry Coke. Be sure to mix the milk and protein powder before adding the soda, or it will explode.
Straight to jail.
Pooper Floof says, IRL, a toss.
Pupper floof, not pooper floof.
This is what I get for reading fast. Pupper Floof says, it's a toss-up between sushi and a Persian okra stew. In-game, honestly lobster, because it was the first big stack of anything I've ever made in game, and I was excited when I finished getting everything cooked like a noob. I was at, like the noob I was at the time. A big stack, FYI, was 1,000. Corpse Fiance says, IRL sushi. In-game, I don't know why, but I think monkfish is the best food. Lurk says, IRL peanut butter, peanut butter, and syrup on pancakes or French toast. Yum. In-game, anglerfish. Swole again says, Samedian asked me to post for him as he's busy running for his election, but he said 3 of the 7-Eleven glizzies with a Mountain Dew and an Osrs, a chili potato glizzy from Grardor. Punkus says, I second Swole's.
I'm gonna ban both Swole and Sabine.
I second Swole, but steak and cheese pie with an ice cold Billy Mav. As soon as you get up, gotta start the day right. # win. The morning, win the day. Buddy Time says, both IRL and in-game pineapple pizza, because it heals 22, 11 per bite, looks amazing, tastes amazing, and is extremely easy to make using the Warriors Guild for pizza and any grocery store for pineapple. Motcat UIM says, Nightshade and OSRS, organic polymer and arc, broken glass and 7 days to die. Also, everyone forgot about holy water as a potion.
If you guys play Ark, eat a handful of organic polymer next time you go out on a raid. It gives you a super awesome like movement speed buff, which you don't normally get in the new version. So organic polymer is the move.
Slogart says, real life, love sushi. Don't have any favorite rolls, but I like the tempura sushi and niri.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh
Niri?
boy. Michael. Nigiri.
Nigiri. And nigiri is great when it's great and bad when it isn't. In-game, lobster. Both, beer. Soggy Waffle says, IRL, an absolutely loaded up spicy Euro plate made by the owner of a local hole-in-the-wall Mediterranean joint downtown. Best paired with a gratuitous...
Gracious.
A gracious? There's 2 T's in there. Gratuitous?
I think that's what he tried to say. 'cause
Gratuitous.
I think gratuitous, I think it implies like gratuitous violence. Unless it is that meant.
A gratuitous amount of
Either gracious or gratuitous. Either way, sorry.
a gratuitous amount of crisp, delicious beer in your belly beforehand. In game, I have never dismissed my boy, the drunken dwarf. Hit me with that kebab and beer any hour of the day. Real crazy
Bro, you
says.
never dismissed the dwarf.
I can't keep doing this, guys. IRL, a creamy risotto and chantilly and,
Chanterelle.
and chicken in-game sea turtle. Just thought the thought of you eating a whole turtle with the shell and everything both disgusts and fascinates me at the same time. Mad Scientist Man says, IRL, a giant slice of pepperoni za. In-game, kebabs just hit the nostalgia button like nobody's business. Hypoflare says, IRL, loving burgers at the moment. Regular beef burger with a slice of cheese. In-game, a shark. I do like a burger. Shifty Sniper says, IRL, loving wings at the moment. Any kind, but gotta stay loyal to their country's flag and have fried rice too.
Philippines,
I don't know what flag that is. In-game sharks, but for the most mantas for more difficult bossing content. Group Dingo says,
yes, it is the Philippines.
I meant to say Dangar. Love me some smash burgers IRL. In-game karambwams go down very well every time I don't pull a fang. Questcaper says, IRL unagi, Japanese freshwater eel commonly on rice, goes absolutely crazy, but it's a rare treat. Day to day, I gotta give it to any ramen place with good noodles. OSRS, burnt karambwans because they never leave me alone. The Taco Daddy, aka DJ, aka Butter 6000, says, IRL quesadillas. You can pack them with whatever meat, cheese, and veggies you want, and then dip them in whatever sauce you have to create the perfect bite every time. An in-game
Including ranch.
sharks. OG Scuba says, IRL breakfast burrito with green chili. In-game purple sweets. The ability to stack food is cracked. Seymour says, in-game tuna potatoes. They heal for 22. There are 22 HP food that you can make with mid-tier farming produce. IRL chips and queso from the nearest Mexican restaurant at any. IRL chips and queso from the nearest local Mexican restaurant at the time. Jordy says, IRL euros or any type of shrimp. Just any type of shrimp. An in-game shark. Something about a shark that's nostalgic and feels badass to eat a whole shark like that. Very manly, very scapey. And finally, we made it to the end of our community question this week, folks. Shu says, IRL, a good smash burger with caramelized onions and bacon, and in-game purple sweets. Because in the words of Mr. Krabs, I like money. That's going to do it for our community question. I need some water, and I need to, I don't know, I'm kind of hungry, but like just doing that now kind of turned me off to the idea of food. You know? I don't know. It's weird. I didn't talk to my therapist about it.
You and I are not on the same page.
That was
with that
stressful. I don't know. I'm too stressed to eat, dude.
So many foods that I'll make you guys. Everybody come over to my apartment. It'll be a tight squeeze, but I'll make you guys all some bitchin' food. You guys will make me some bitchin' food. And I have a take. A lot of people talked about like foods from different cultural spots. The nearest Mexican restaurant, the locally owned Mediterranean place, right? I have a theory. It's going to sound out of pocket, but I need you to just bear with me here. If you are in the United States or in England, I guess, in English, like where English is like the number one language, right? If you walk in to a cultural food place and the kitchen is not speaking English, you're in good hands. You found the right spot. Doesn't matter what the inside or the outside looks like. Doesn't matter if the server or the hostess is just on her phone going, there's like 17 tables, pick one. Doesn't matter. If the kitchen isn't speaking English, you are in the right place. I suppose it also applies for like, you know, more traditional like American bar food, things like that, you know? But like, I don't know. Something about like, going to a restaurant, you're the only one speaking English at a Mexican restaurant. You're the only one speaking English at a Mediterranean restaurant. You know, like, oh my God. You go to like a Middle Eastern joint, you're the only one speaking English in there. obviously people are speaking English to you because you're in the United States, right? But like everyone's communicating in a different language to each other. You are in the best spot possible because that shit is going to be perfect. Every time I go somewhere and I hear not English coming out of the kitchen, I'm like, oh, baby, we're going to order way too much food here because this shit's about to be fire. And I have not missed one time. So
I will add too.
That's my cultural food take
Nice.
for the U.S.
I will add also, if you go to somewhere that's not traditional American food, and it's like Mexican food, Mediterranean, like Oxie said, if the menu is also not in English, you know it's probably going to be good and authentic. Like if you go to a Mexican
We don't
place,
get a whole lot of that up here, but
and they use
by you, I imagine you do.
Yeah, like if you go to a Mexican place and they use pollo instead of chicken, just order it. It's probably going to be great. That's going to do it for the fun question. And I'm going to throw it over to Oxie to choose this week's fun question.
He just can't. He just can't do it anymore. So here's the thing. Michael's made a mistake. Michael's made a grave mistake sending it over to me because we're talking about Quest. We're talking about OSRS and different games. I want to know, what is your guys' most memorable non-RuneScape video game moment? Like, what is the most memorable video game moment that you have, right? Like, I'll give you an example. For me, one of the most memorable in-game things that's ever happened to me is George's sacrifice in Halo Reach. I can recount that bitch word for word, and I might do it next week, depending on what the responses are. That, when I tell you, as a child, that whole sequence from the end of Tip of the Spear all the way through to the end of Long Night of Solace had me on the edge of my seat going, huh? It was absurd as a young teenager. I want to know what your favorite video game moment was, but Michael made a mistake in giving it to me. The fact that we only got 36 responses on YouTube is offensive, or on Discord is offensive to me. We got 52. What if we can get 100? What would it take? What would it take to get 100 responses?
Well, here's the thing.
What would it take?
Here's the thing.
I wonder.
Here's what Oxie doesn't know. And I have been theory crafting how to not make this a train wreck of me just dogpiling you with words.
I will say moving it to Discord has been kind of a catastrophe for the amount of people. Like, it's been so good to interact with you guys, don't get me wrong, but like Spotify, we pulled, if we had 20 responses on Spotify, that was a lot,
right?
You know,
It's just,
and now we
it's
just like
super
tripled that.
easy. It's super easy, and like you're already there. I ping you guys in Discord, and then the same channel that I'm pinging you in, I'm posting I'm posting the question. So like, I'm not mad that people are responding. I'm really not. This is not me saying, stop, we don't want your answers. We want your answers. But I also want to make this still,
we want 100.
we want 100. I want to make this section make sense. And like, I want it to still be good podcast content. But just hearing me rattle off things for like the last 15 minutes was probably not great podcasting content. Like, I want to be able to interact and comment and not have it take 45 minutes. So what I might end up doing is, if we have 100 responses, I might just read a random selection of like 25 of them. You know, like I'll take bits and pieces of the overall story and feed it to you that way, and not just give you every single one. So like, moving forward, if we have a ton of responses and I don't read yours, it's not because I wanted to ignore you, and it's not because your answer wasn't great. It's just I'm picking random ones, and we're going to keep this podcast going, and we're still going to interact in a communal way. Does that make sense? So you can answer this week's question on the thread in Discord, on the comment section on Spotify, or the pinned comment of this YouTube video. Throwing it on over now.
I'm sure there's gonna be people out there who are like, oh my god, it took them 160 weeks. What is this? 162?
162.
I think. Yeah. There's going to be 162 weeks to finally reduce the community question to that point. Because I'm sure there have been people out there who have been like, dude, please.
I mean, listen, like it's
so long.
It's a give and take because there were weeks where we had like 5. And there were weeks where we had probably upwards of maybe 30 or 40. But we always got through them.
52.
But this is literally, I think, the new record. It's a crazy amount.
Double it next week.
What's your
baby.
favorite food? It was supposed to be a throwaway question. But everybody,
so the thing is, like, when
it.
you ask a broad question about IRL stuff, that's when it becomes not a throwaway question, right? Like, what was? I'll give you the example. Like, what was your favorite part of Desert Treasure 2? Is a very simple community question, and I think we talked about this the last time we asked a question like this. Because one time we asked, "What's your favorite breakfast food?" And people were showing. It was like the Avengers out of the portals, dude. People were everywhere answering this question. And it was a lot of fun because we got a lot of engagement out of that. It was a good time to connect with the community. So when you ask, like, hey, do you have like a personal favorite thing in real life that you want to tell me about? That's way different than like, hey, do you have a favorite or least favorite specific moment about this game? You know, like, I think that's the difference that draws the engagement. And
that's
then
very true.
Chaos Cleric mentions that Discord is accessible. Discord removes the middleman. You know, you have to go to like a different platform and type your answer and do all the stuff. And like, I've never responded to the community question, mainly because I don't want to respond on my personal Spotify.
Sure.
But also, like,
you're here.
You know, like, I'm here, you know? Yeah, some people are saying like it's just too much, that extra step, you know? Because if you're in the car driving to work, you shouldn't be, look me in the eyes, D4 Drake, you shouldn't be doing anything but focusing on the road, not answering a community question. Give you one of these. But yeah.
Well, here's the thing.
Responses,
if you guys want to engage, the platform to do that would be on YouTube, because YouTube is the place where comments matter. So like if you want to support the show and like help us grow, go comment on YouTube, because that, like, the last 2 weeks we've gotten the least amount of replies on YouTube, and that's the only platform that is actively looking at our comments and being like, wow, their engagement was really low. We shouldn't boost this because like nobody cares. So if you comment on YouTube, it'll help us grow. Nobody is looking at our Discord.
He's slaving away at these new thumbnails just for the engagement to hit all-time low.
Nobody's looking at our
made
Discord.
It easier for you guys to talk with us.
Right.
Not that it was difficult to talk with us before. Like, we're atable. People I feel like at us, if not every day, at least every other day. And like this week, I think I went like 2 or 3 days without logging in, which doesn't sound like a lot, but like I just didn't have time to sit down. You made a comment earlier that like you weren't even on your iPad. Same. I like sat at work and like didn't train rune crafting at all because I was just busy. I had stuff to do.
Makes sense.
So yeah.
Well, now it is finally time to throw it over to Oxie for arguably people's second favorite, based on responses, everybody's second favorite segment, community question. I mean, achievement of the week.
Sure. Yeah, it is achievement of the week time. We did more things this week. Last week we didn't do a whole lot of things, but this week we did quite a bit of things.
I'm excited for 2 of them.
We're going to kick things off in the miscellaneous category this week. We only have 2 of them in the miscellaneous category this week. The Mr. Knight achieved their quest cape this week, and Hoof-Hearted got his diary cape this week. So, hell yeah, boys. 2 very cool capes. Moving into the skilling section this week. Gowerly achieved 99 strength, inching ever closer to max. Dr. Gerbert achieved 99 mining, which I typed out as 9 mining. So congratulations on achieving level 9 mining. Tron with... Okay. Remember how last week I said check on your friends? All right. This week, you need to check on your friends 10 times over. Tron achieved 99 Slayer on a Skiller account. Wait for it. It's a fucking untrimmed cape. If you are not as stuck into this game as Michael and I are to understand the magnitude of that achievement, right? It is so hard for a skiller to gain Slayer XP because Slayer is not a combat skill. Slayer is a support skill. So technically, for skillers, it is part of the maxing grind. The process to get Slayer XP on a skiller, I think the only ways to do it are to hand in random artifacts at the dig site and to do temple trekking for Slayer XP. Because you can't train Slayer normally because you can't do combat as a skiller. You're stuck at level 3. So I need to see the hours played on this account. Because you have an untrimmed Slayer cape on a skiller account, I need to see the hours played on this account.
I don't even think you can get to Mauritania on a skiller, to be honest with you, because you need Priest in Peril, which gives prayer XP, does it not?
Does it? Ooh, I think it does. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, it is prayer XP for Priest in Peril. So yeah, just the mining
Or
of
lamps,
the artifacts at the camp.
That's unrealistic.
Yeah, but lamps are less consistent. Like I think you get lamps from the dig site stuff, which is why I'm saying that.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it is absurd. So Tron, hit us with your hours played, or you're like, I don't know, dude. You're like receipt for therapy or something.
Listen. I don't want to. Okay, Tron. I apologize for Oxie downplaying this. That is a huge achievement. Like, holy
no,
shit,
I'm not
dude.
I'm not downplaying.
You told him
Do you know
to
how
get
many
some
hours
help.
That takes.
That's crazy cool, though. That's got to be the number one achievement I have ever seen in this Discord. Untrimmed Slayer on a skiller.
That feels like 1,000-hour accomplishment for a 99. So when I say go to therapy, I don't mean like I got mining as my first 99. You did the hardest skill, the hardest way to 99. Get some help. Frame it. Frame the achievement, right? I have a picture of my infernal cape framed that my friend made me years ago. So I get it. You know, you can do that. But I need to see the hours played. I need to know the method. I need to know the details exactly of how you got this cape. Because that's crazy. Continuing on, Jaw Dead, a.k.a. Jaw Magician, a.k.a. I almost said Jaw Miner. We're not going to go there. Jaw Dead achieved 99 mining and 99 magic this week. Lunar Trilight achieved 99 fishing. Fishy Bun achieved 99 strength. That may have been Fishy Bun's first 99. Sure. Dice Hunter achieved 99 magic. Eighth Try achieved 99 farming. Moisty Legs achieved 99 hit points. 2157 achieved 99 farming. Lost Leaf achieved 99 wood cutting. OG Scuba achieved 99 magic and has been banned from the Discord. I hate to break it to you guys, OG Scuba has been kicked out of the TNL community. He's no longer welcome here. I'm actually going to go execute the ban right now for everyone to see. OG Scuba achieved 99 magic with I'm gonna ban his accomplices too. 2 to Fly, Avery Runes, Uke, Thermo Strike, and Donut 308. You're all kicked out of the Discord. None of you are welcome back. OG Scuba achieved 99 magic.
At
with
Mole.
every single one of these motherfuckers at Mole in the stupid Mole guide outfit. And it's not even a melee stat. It's not even a melee stat.
It's your legacy, Oxie.
You got it. You're all kicked out. All 6 of you are kicked out of this Discord. You're not welcome back. You're banned. If you're hearing this, your device is going to self-destruct in 3, 2, 1. You're not allowed back anymore. All kicked out after that performance. Anyways, Ryukason achieved 99 crafting. KCT achieved 99 thieving. Narad 21 achieved 99 defense. And Moist Sean achieved 99 farming. Last night, I'm online, and Moist Sean killed Hesperia and got I think it was an Iosaur seed for a collection log slot. Hesperia PB, Iosaur seed. And the CC started going fucking crazy. Everyone just started GZing. I'm like, okay, like it's a Iosaur seed. Completely missed that it was 99 farming with that Hesperia kill as well. And I thought people were just going ballistic for the collection log slot for a minute there. So congratulations to you. We don't normally see this achievement in the skilling category. But as always, if we don't normally see something, we see it in an absurd way, meaning we didn't just see it once this week, we saw it twice. FFS Sam achieved 200 million woodcutting XP. And Steins Gate secured his spot in the top 200, top 100 Iron Men with 200 mil ranging XP this week. So, congratulations to both of you on being solidified on the high scores forevermore. Why do I feel like FFS Sam is going for 200 mil all? FFS Sam, let's see. He might be, because some of these, they're all at least 100.
He's one of those.
Check on your
he's one of
friends,
those
guys.
What is it? The Scalar clan people. I don't know. I'm pretty sure he's in TNL, but him and like left GP, left GF for XP, 200 mil all at some point. What's the clan? That's
Check on your friends.
yeah.
Anyways, finishing it up with the combat achievements portion of Achievement of the Week this week. The Moist Avenger, who has an all capitals and very aggressive Discord name that kind of, it was like, oh, the Moist Avenger. He got his first fire cape this week. Awesome. Additionally, the Val, Super Soft Salad, Fishy Bun with the double, and KC Champs, while we were recording, all of them killed Zulrah for the first time this week. I got to show off some of the old memes that my friends way back in the day used to troll the shit out of me while I was learning Zulrah. So I got to post some heaters in the general chat, which is always a good time. As far as kits are concerned this week, Jack's GIM Combobulation did not get his Missouri kit this week. In fact, he died in all 6 rooms. I know what you're thinking. There's only 5 rooms in TOA. He died in the lobby as well. Just to further prove that he's not draftable for bingo. He did not get his Missouri kit this week. That did not happen. You know who did get their kits this week, though? Oracle Angel got their Menophyte kit, and Goose got his Fang kit. So we got 2 of the 3 kits, and one of the kits didn't get achieved. Speaking of kits, there's another kit that we like to shout out here. Last night, while hanging out with the boys in VC, we witnessed it happen. Roz is coward no more, some could say, because now he has Blood Torva. He got the Ancient Blood icon last night after taking down the Whisperer, and he is now a Blorva enjoyer. I think it was Riley said it's one less Tin Man to hang out with. So good for him. Yeah, congratulations, Roz. But as we all know, in the combat achievements section, there is one achievement that crowns over them all. Arnold Palmer finally achieved his Infernal Cape, which fun to see our PvPers taking that extra step and really going above and beyond for PVM. Not that Arnold Palmer hasn't been able to PVM. Like, if you were around for King of the Hill, you know the man can grind. You know the man can do PVM. But we've seen his name most recently in either killing or being killed by people for absurd amounts of money. So congratulations to you, Wargus. I've heard you're next. But that is going to do it for Achievement of the Week this week. If you did something awesome, head over to our Discord, discord.gg/OSRSTNL. Post about your achievement. It can be whatever. It can be Blorva. It can be an Infernal Cape. It can be 200 mil. It can be something that makes me want to institutionalize you, like 99 Slayer on a Skiller.
Stop it.
Or it can be base 80s, base 60s. We don't care what it is. It can be quest completions. Whatever it is, we love to see it. So head over to our Discord. Head over to the Discord and post it in the levels and achievements chat. And as always, we say it every single week, but just for laughs, I'll scroll on down. We got not 1, not 2, but 3 rating VCs right now that are all going up.
Wow.
People are gaming this Sunday. So come on in and join objectively the best RuneScape Discord in the world. Michael, we've asked a lot of questions today.
Holy
Had
shit,
some
we have.
laughs. had some laughs, we've shed some tears. But I think it's time to take us home. And I think it's time that I ask you, Michael, my friend, do you have a fun question for us this week?
Not only do I have a fun question, but I have a fun postcard. G'day, mate.
Holy shit.
This is from Fizzman 15. Fizzman 15.
You mean Fizzman?
Fizzman. 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 That's the throwback. I'm only crying because I yawned. Anyway, I'm going to try and read this to the best of my ability. The sucky part about postcards sometimes is they like stamp stuff when you're trying to.
Oh,
Like
did
they
the
stamp-
international, they stamp over it?
Sometimes.
Oh,
Yeah.
rough.
So, dear Michael and Oxie, I've played RS on and off, mostly on, since childhood, and I've listened to you for over a year. Even though I've always loved the game and adore the lore, your podcast has reinvigorated my passion. It has given me a sense of community to feel included in. I also love all the random things you cover, even things that aren't relevant for me, a mobile-only Iron Man. It reminds me of how much I love the game. I'm excited to get more involved in the clan, play bingo, and help out newer players. For my contribution to the podcast, the fun question. Here we go. If you could change the ending of any quest, which would you choose, and what would be the new ending? Muchos Muchos from Sydney, Australia, Fizzman15. G'day, mate. Thank you, Fizzman.
What a lovely postcard.
I love that. the stamp says secure your dog. What you got going on there in Australia? The dangos? Secure your dango? Dango? Dango?
Good God.
I'm just gonna keep trying it. But anyway, if you could
How many subs for Michael never to do an Australian
if you
accent?
could change the ending of any quest, what would you choose and what would it be? I'm gonna let you take this one, Mr. Quest Lore Man. I wanted to give Oxie a heads up on this one and read it to him before we started the show, and he said, "No, I got it off the dome."
I like him. I like him off the dome. It's way more fun that way. It's way more sporadic and planned because sometimes the ideas are shitty, and sometimes the ideas are really good. So I kind of had a train of thought here, and I'll walk you down each car of the train. The first, what if there was a plague? What if the plague was very real, and the plague infected other parts of Artoyan? Does that make the elf storyline relevant? What if the plague affects elves differently? What if they staged it and then turned out, because humans haven't interacted with elves in thousands of years, the antibodies and the immune systems are so different that this plague mutates and actually wipes out a city?
Ooh,
You know, what would that look like? What kind of damage control would you have to do? Would you be eradicating the elves? There would be no song of the elves. It would be the song of how you defeated the elves. You know, that would be kind of crazy to go through like that kind of biohazard material there. Which I think would be interesting, you know, to frame elves instead of these like morally good high creatures of, you know, super sound, whatever, you know, these eloquent, fair, beautiful things, to these essentially like biological weapons that you need to treat with extreme caution while eradicating forever. Like, could you imagine how different this story goes if your mission is to prevent the crystal from opening, preventing Prif Dinis from becoming a thing, and destroying the elves? That could be crazy.
that would be crazy.
That would be absurd, you know?
Yeah.
Which also got me thinking, like, that could be super spooky. You want to know what else would be a super spooky quest line? You kill Vardorvis, but you f***ed up. And you brought just a tiny little seed of the Stranglewood back to Zaya.
Oh.
And it's kind of like that line in Halo 3 where a single flood spore can destroy a species. And now suddenly you got to work with the entirety of Zaya to, at best, fight back the Stranglewood. At worst, consider the continent a lost cause and keep it from traveling overseas. Like, could you imagine the stakes that has? Or like, how do you stop an inevitability? How do you stop an organic hive mind from taking over everything? Right? Do you just fucking let the winter tot out?
Well, there's your plot.
Well, I don't know.
There's your plot for
What can beat plants?
Yeah.
Fire.
Hmm.
You know, who knows? Or cold. Plants don't grow well in the cold. That would be crazy. Of like, oh my god, wouldn't that be okay? Hear me out, dude. It's absurd. You open the doors of Din for the first time in thousands of years, but the pyromancers have done such a good job that you hype up all this shit to open the doors of Din. The winter tot just fizzles into nothingness when it leaves the chamber. Turns out the chamber was keeping the winter tot alive after years of being suppressed by the pyromancers, that to the point when it exited the doors, it just sort of like turned to dust and was no more. Like this eldritch horror. So like, oh shit, we can't even fight a kaiju with a kaiju. What are we gonna do? You know, like that would be crazy, man. Those I think that's where I would change the directions of stories. Don't get me wrong, Desert Treasure 2 and Song of the Elves are two of the most well-written quests in this game, as we have just kind of talked about here. But the ending of like, no, it's the bad thing. It's so much worse. Like we don't give a shit what's in that temple anymore. Zaya is gone. You know, like could you imagine? Like I just want you to picture for a minute. You go tell King Lathis the plague is real, and he's like, well, yeah, obviously that's why we have the city quarantined. And you're like, no, you don't understand. The elves are infecting people. The plague is now real. And he's like, oh, fuck. Like, there's a real one now? Like, the whole thing was staged.
Oh.
And then a real plague broke out. Oh, shit, dude. Those could be some good story beats. This is why I like doing it off the dome.
The dome.
That's what I would do. That's what I would do to change the endings. I would make the plague real in Biohazard, and I would make an error or misstep in Desert Treasure 2 infect the rest of the continent with the Stranglewood.
And that is your storyline for A Kingdom United. Because you gotta eradicate the Stranglewood from taking over Zaya.
That'd be pretty fucking shit.
Can you imagine though, Desert Treasure 2 being a prereq for a sequel to A Kingdom Divided?
The fact that Desert Treasure 2 and While Gothic Sleeps are going to be a prereq for the Ritual of the Majora, that quest is going to be insane. But A Kingdom United with a DT2 prereq would be off the fucking wall, dude.
Yeah, I think you could do it without it, but it would be hard to throw that in there. Like there's a spore of this disease that's spreading, and then you finally do Desert Treasure later, and it's all contained within the city, and you just eradicated it from Zaya. It's a little weird. I'm not as eloquent as Oxie when it comes to the lore of this game, because I got a Questscape in 2018, and I cannot lie, I spacebarred the whole thing. I don't think there was a single quest that I did on the road to my Questscape where I read the dialogue or cared about what was happening. I just wanted the Questscape. I'm a different man now, obviously, and any new quests that I do on my Iron Man, I've pretty much read them, unless it's like some quest I've done like 600 times and I just don't care at this point. But I was doing Demon Slayer recently in Deadman mode, or it may have been, yeah, I think it was in Deadman. There was a quest that I did recently. I had to do Demon Slayer for some reason. I can't remember why. But I thought to myself, like, Delrith or whatever the demon's name, he's supposed to be this like formidable foe that we're very scared of. Like, you know, in like there's a quest, Defender of Varrock. There's a very real threat of these zombies taking over Varrock, and you have to go and find the like the descendant of one of the original one of the original founders of Varrock, and like they have to be the one to do this special thing, and that's what ends the calamity. But in Demon Slayer, the guy has 7 HP, and you can do it like day one on your account, and you vanquish this demon. But it would be so cool if Demon Slayer was not a free to play quest, and it was an actual thought out storyline where you have to go and collect all of this. You have to go to these different cities and find keys to unlock this mega weapon, Demon Slayer weapon, that would vanquish the demon and save the city from a very, very real threat, not just a 7 HP demon. Kind of a wasted storyline, I think, when it comes to like this being a free to play quest and not something that could be way bigger. Granted, Demon Slayer starts this whole arc of upgrading your Silverlight or whatever it was called into a very real and formidable weapon at the end of While Gothic Sleeps. But I think it would be really cool if they changed. I think it would have been a more satisfying ending to have that actually have been a city saving event rather than just like a 7 HP demon for Demon Slayer. And then the other one, what's the other one? That might have been my only one.
All I'm saying is, it wouldn't be the first time a free to play quest that's pretty straightforward and easy to do laid the groundwork for a sequel that is up there as one of the best quests in the game. A Demon Slayer 2 with the sadistic mind and puzzle creation of Mod Ed and his team to get these keys. You're like, oh, well, like, I don't only have Silverlight now, I have Emberlight. And you pull out this, like, flaming demon sword, and they're like, yeah, that's not going to work. We need, like, a real, like a real anti-demon weapon. And you have to find all these keys. Can you imagine the puzzles and the boss fights?
It'd be really cool.
And the demons you'd have to take down. Because now that we have all the tormented synapses and things like that, you could have a demon for each combat style and introduce 3 brand new demon bosses into the game.
It's very true.
Before you fight the final, like you fight Delriff's final form.
Ooh.
Because like maybe it's one of those, like, I don't remember Demon Slayer very much. I haven't done it in a
You do
very
an
long
incantation at the end, so I don't know that he actually dies, to be honest with you. I think you just banish him again.
But I don't know if it's Delriff as like truly Delriff or Delriff as like a nerfed version of Delriff, And honestly, were it like, oh, we just banished him into the future, the Skyrim plot of like, yeah, we sent Alduin 3,000 years into the future, and like you happen to be playing in year 3,000 when Alduin comes back. Like, that could be interesting for a Demon Slayer 2 quest. Because I think you're right. There's a lot of potential there.
Yeah. It just seems like a wasted story. But man, anytime we do these like theory crafting bits, I always just want it. Like, give us Demon Slayer 2 now. Stop working on whatever you're working on.
And yet, for some reason, the one time we tried to make a quest was the worst episode in our catalog.
I mean, have you listened to the Expo episode lately? I don't know.
That was a long time ago. That was when we were a different show when we
True.
did the E3 episode.
Yeah. Nothing's
It was
happening
like
in the
very
game.
different
So
time.
let's talk about E3 on our RuneScape podcast.
Well, it was like, all right, E3, RuneScape, and I had like just moved because I remember that episode. I did that shit from my kitchen table.
Yeah.
And I had to tell my roommate, like, hey, I have to record my podcast out here because I don't have a desk. And she's like, whatever. So that one probably wasn't great, but like that was so long ago in our catalog. I don't even think we had any of our like new graphics and shit.
Mm-mm.
Did we? I don't remember if we did.
It was probably within
So,
the first 15 or 20 episodes that we did. Going back to listen.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Compared to now when it's like we have a system.
Professional.
And we put that episode out there anyway. You know,
Listen, in
but
theory,
yeah, we got some potential.
randomizing the wiki, it could work. There's a whole guy that like made his account like the random wiki locked account. So it could have been great.
Are you talking about generate task?
No, there's a guy, so his name is Wiki Locked or something, and he, in order to progress his account, he can't use any guides and he can't use the wiki, and he has very little RuneScape knowledge. But he went on the wiki and he hit random page, I think 6 times, and he notated it. And each page that he landed on, he had to organically discover that in the game before he could unlock another random page in the wiki. And his whole like shtick is he wants to find out about everything in the game by accessing the wiki one page at a time. It's a really like intriguing concept, and like looking back, it could have been a really cool concept for the quest episode. It's just we got really bad rolls on the randomizer, and like the story just it wasn't intriguing. So it came down to bad RNG. Cool concept, bad RNG. But that's the fun question. Thank you, Fizzman15, for your contribution. And you'll see your postcard up on the wall back there somewhere. And if you want to send us a postcard, the address is in the description, but I'm going to read it to you. It's P.O. Box 2376, Keller, Texas 76244. And that's in the United States of America. If you want to send us a postcard, you know the address. I'm going to be checking this thing at least once a month, if not every week. Because I did speak to the post office, and they said that they don't throw stuff out. So like if it sits there, it sits there. But I'm going to try at least go every week. So thank you for the postcard and the fun question. Always appreciated.
Hell yeah. Well, I think that's going to do it. I think we as a community have gained, that's not accurate because I was logged in before, 143k rune crafting XP. And once I finish this inventory, it'll basically be 150k. So GZ on 150k rune crafting, everybody. I'm 13% to 94. So hooray. But anyways, you guys are fantastic. Thank you guys for tuning in this long. Yeah, you guys are great. If you want to see more of us or hear more of us, there's a link tree in the description with all of our socials. We're not very active on social media, which like I think is a result of Michael and I being older and not really caring about social media too much. Like I think there was a time when we were a little bit younger, literally, when we were like posting on Twitter and TikTok and Instagram, things like that. But now we like have real lives and shit, and like we don't care as much about social media. So, you know, if you guys want to see more from us, let us know, and we will make an effort to post more if that's something you care about. But if you're just here to play RuneScape and listen to two guys chat your ear off on your second monitor, that's all we need. You know, if that's all you need, that's all we need. But every link you'll ever need is in the description of this video down below. I think that about covers it. So I think we're going to send you guys off for next week, and we will see you guys, unsurprisingly, next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.